I would like to welcome you all to the International Conference of Business and Management 2019, organized by Bragg Business School, Bragg University. As you already know, that we have had a very successful completion of the first ICBM 2017 that was held in 2017 in June. After that, we have the entire team has worked really hard to make sure that we are able to arrange another yet successful conference in Bangladesh for the year 2019. ICBM 2019 will be focusing on the theme of industry-focused global research trends in business and management. We are very delighted to let you know that we have had over 300 participants attending here in Bangladesh with us today, joining us with us today, and including 40 international delegates from various countries like India, Taiwan, Malaysia, Singapore, India, Nigeria, and many more. We will have two packed days where our scholars will be presenting papers. We also have very young scholars who are students from undergraduate and master's levels as well. So we're very excited to give them a platform to share their opinions and be a part of this industry. We will be focusing on a lot of fields, which will be focused on business and management, namely education, supply chain, accounting, banking and finance, marketing management, entrepreneurship, economics, human resources, and many more. We will be having industry academic discussion as well, which will help us bridge a gap between our academics as well as industry as well. The main reason why we would like to promote such kind of a conference because we have seen a major gap when it comes to our students graduating and the students who are working in the workplace. And after having a lot of discussion, very close discussion with our industry representatives, we have pointed out or come to a conclusion that it's very useful for us to provide such platform to our students of this generation so that they can know more about what it is like to be working in an industry and bridge that gap between education, our theoretical knowledge, as well as practical knowledge. And I believe, like what we have done in 2017, I believe Bragg Business School and Bragg University will be able to give them a very big platform to promote that. Can I please have a big round of applause for Bragg Business School, Bragg University for arranging this conference. I would like to apologize for the 15 minutes delay. We were supposed to start at 9 a.m. It's 25 minutes delay. It's almost 9:25 a.m. But without further ado, we would like to inaugurate the ICBM 2019. May I please request our special guest, Professor Dr. Vincent Chang, Vice Chancellor of Bragg University, to please honor us on stage. Thank you. Our session chair for ICBM 2019, Professor Dr. Muhammad Mahbub Rahman, Dean of Bragg Business School, Bragg University. Our Honorable Program Chair of ICBM 2019, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Mamun Habib. Please, sir, please honor us on stage. Our respected guest of honor, Mr. M. Anisuddola, Chairman of ACI Group, please join us on stage. Our respected international keynote speakers, may I please request Professor Dr. Hui Ming Wee from Chung Won Christian University, Taiwan, to please come up on stage. Professor Dr. Sung-Ru Lee from National Chung Hing University of Taiwan. Please have a seat here. Thank you. Last but not the least, may I please request our keynote speaker, Honorable Professor Razamin Ramli from Uttara University, Malaysia. Please come up on stage. Thank you. Can we have a big round of applause for our distinguished guests present here today? Thank you everyone for joining us. Without further ado, I would like to request our program chair of ICBM 2019 to please come up on the podium, Dr. Muhammad Mamun Habib sir, and say a few words. Thank you.
Today, our chief guest, Honorable Education Minister, she's not coming, so our Professor Bing-Chet Chang, our Vice Chancellor, he's taking the position as the chief guest. Mr. M. Anisuddola, Chair, our guest of honor for today, and Dr. Mahabub Rahman, Professor and Dean, Bragg Business School, our keynote speakers, our local and international guests. A very good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to ICBM 2019. Again, I stood here after 19 months of first international conference of business and management. I'm honored as this conference was my brainchild, but today it is yours, particularly academics and corporates. Though the theme of this conference was proposed by me 1 year before. But we believe it is a very relevant, timely manner, as well as it would create the bridge between the academics and practitioners based on the global platform. In ICBM 2017, we have 150 papers. We have the 180 participants from local and international, whereas in this conference, 2019 ICBM, we have more than 170 papers. We have around the 300 participants. It is noted that initially we received the 260 papers, and after the review process, we select about 170 papers. In 3 days, today our 3 days conference, though it's officially inaugurated, but yesterday we started by the one workshop, PhD colloquium and paper producing workshop, which was the unique selling feature of this conference. Unfortunately, our honorable keynote speaker, Professor Bashir, Vice Chancellor of the University of Uttara Malaysia, he couldn't attend. I received his PowerPoint slides yesterday morning, and we received that he's on the way to Bangladesh. Unfortunately, in the KL, he was not feeling well, and he went to the hospital due to his low blood pressure. So due to that, we got another 3 keynote speaker with us. In addition, we have the 8 industry talks, 9 invited talk, 24 parallel sessions. Each parallel session will consist of 6 to 7 selected papers in various areas of business and management. What I mentioned earlier, that we have one special feature is that PhD colloquium, what we did in the yesterday. We have the industry talk, we have the academia industry discussion, meet the editors, and so on. All abstracts of this conference have been published in the hard copy of the conference proceedings. Those are the international standard book number. In addition, full papers of all accepted papers have been published in the USB drive, soft copy. Both hard copy of the conference proceedings and soft copy of the conference proceedings are available in your conference kit. We have the conference partnership for 12 international universities and research organizations, including University of Texas Arlington, University of Uttar Malaysia, University of Technology Mara, Chiang Mai University, Thailand, Chuangong Christian University, Taiwan, University of Trisakti, Indonesia, and so on, which added more values to our conference, no doubt. We have more than 40 foreign delegates from the 12 countries of the various continents. Furthermore, significant number of the top academicians and prominent industry practitioners are also participating in this conference. On behalf of the conference secretariat, I'm grateful to have the sponsor of the all key players, particularly ACI Limited, our platinum sponsor, our gold sponsor, Bragg Bank, Abdul Monem Group, IPDC Finance, Runners Automobiles, silver sponsor, Mutual Trust Bank, Bikash, supporting sponsor, H. Khan Company, Better Business Governance, BBG Singapore, and so on. I would like to express my special thanks to my dynamic, energetic, super talented, our organizing committee members, particularly our members of the conference secretariat, executive of the conference secretariat, international committee, publication committee, advisory boards. I'd like to note the one special attention. Our last few weeks, our conference secretariat, they working hard from morning to until the midnight. Last, but not the least, I express my gratitude, special gratitude to all media, especially the particularly electronic and print media, those are participating and covering these conferences. Finally, thanks to everybody. Enjoy your 3 days conference. Try to explore the more new ideas, more new co-author, your joint research collaboration. Try to explore with the local and international scholars. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words, and thank you for arranging such a great conference. May I please request now our Vice Chancellor of Bragg University, Dr. Vincent Chang, to please come up to the podium and say a few words. Thank you.
Good morning. Honorable guest of honor, Mr. Anis Ud Dola, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Bragg University, I welcome all of you come to this year's ICBM. This is really the second time, as the session chair mentioned, program chair mentioned, this is the second time we are holding such a conference. We are actually very excited about this kind of conferences. Particularly, I think from Bangladesh perspective, I think A, it's timely, B, is relevant, and C, it is a useful platform. First of all, it's timely. These days, Bangladesh is perhaps one of the most dynamic countries in the world. In fact, according to Asia Development Bank, last year, Bangladesh has the highest economic growth in the world. This year, based on the projection of the first quarter data, Bangladesh is projected again to be #1 in the world in terms of GDP growth. Next year, according to Asia Development Bank, Bangladesh is projected to be again #1 in the world. So indeed, this is an era of great transformation for Bangladesh, for its economy. So I believe a conference like this is very timely because it can serve as a reflection upon our past. It can serve as a bearing into the current dynamics. And it also can serve as a going forward perspective into the future. Second, I think this conference is really very, very relevant. Bangladesh higher education, like its economy, also in the era of great transformation. Our university, Bragg University, has been considered one of the leading universities in this country. We are positioned, or I should say repositioned, to benchmark everything we do against the world's best standards and practices. We are committed to building a global portfolio, a portfolio that can contribute to the global knowledge creation. So a conference like this is extremely relevant because it's a very important component of Bragg University's global portfolio. Third, we are very excited. This conference can be a very useful platform for sharing knowledge, for exchange ideas, and even for promoting thoughts. So I believe regardless where you are from, or whether you are an academician or a practitioner, you should be able to get something out of it. Particularly to our international guests here, I was told there are about 40 to 50% of you here. I really encourage you to experience the city and the country beyond this conference. Bangladesh, the city of the Dhaka is really a city full of energy. The country, Bangladesh, the people, is really one among the most hospitable people I have ever known. And trust me, I travel around the world. And this is what I see. So I hope our international guests, I hope you can experience what I see. Finally, as the program chair mentioned, I'd like to thank our sponsors, ACI Group, Abdullah Monem, Bragg Bank, IPDC Finance, Runner Automobiles, and Mutual Trust Bank. Without your kind of support, this kind of conference would not be possible. So on that, I wish this conference a great success. And please enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your very inspiring words. May I now please request our honorable guest, Chairman of ACI Group, Mr. M. Anisuddollah, sir, to please come up to the podium and say a few words. Thank you.
Dr. Vincent Chang, Vice Chancellor of Bragg University, Dr. M. Mahbubur Rahman, Dean, Bragg Business School, Dr. Muhammad Mamun Habib, Program Chair of ICBM 2019, distinguished guests, students, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Good morning to you all. It's a pleasure for me to be part of this international conference on business and management. This event opens the avenue of multidimensional discussion among different stakeholders from the government, academia, and the industry. As a prominent conglomerate in Bangladesh, ACI always appreciates the opportunity of collaboration of this nature. It is an opportune time to renew contacts and discuss problems of mutual interest with representatives from different areas. In this era of globalization 4.0, it is inevitable for us to collaborate and share ideas to harness the potential of the emerging technologies of the Industry 4.0. I believe the discussion, ideas, and thoughts will pave the way for further strengthen the tie amongst the stakeholders. I wish the conference great success. Thank you very much for inviting me and making SCI a part of this initiation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your beautiful words. We would like to take 2 minutes of your time now to launch the ICBM 2019 conference proceedings. Just give us 1 minute to prepare the proceedings for our honorable guests. Thank you. May I please request our honorable guests to please stand up? Thank you. Can we have a big round of applause for the launch of International Conference of Business and Management 2019 conference proceedings? Thank you. Thank you. As you all know, our chief guest, who was supposed to be with us today, but due to unavoidable circumstances, she could not make it. Our Dr. Dipu Moni MP, Ministry of Education, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. She could not be here with us, unfortunately, but she's very sad that she could not be a part of this conference. But on behalf of her, we have received her blessings from our State Minister of Cultural Affairs of Bangladesh, Governor of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Dr. K.M. Khalid. He has sent his blessings for us as well. Without further ado, we would like to now honor our partners without whom this conference would not have been possible. May I please request our special guest, Professor Dr. Vincent Chang, Vice Chancellor of BRAC University, to please help us hand over the crest to our partners. I would like to start with our Platinum Sport partner, Mr. M. Anisuddola, Chairman of ACI Group. That's better, okay. Thank you for the Platinum Partnership by ACI Group. Our gold sponsor, BRAC Bank Limited. Can we please have on stage Chaudhry Akhtar Asif, Deputy Managing Director and CRO, BRAC Bank Limited. Our gold sponsor, IPDC Finance. May I please have on stage Asanuzzaman Shujon, Managing Manager, Human Resources of IPDC Finance. Our gold sponsor, Runner Motors Limited. May I please have on stage Mr. A.M. Hamim Rahmatullah, Managing Director, CEO of Runner Motors Limited. Thank you. Our gold sponsor from Abdul Monem Limited. May I please have on stage Mr. A.S.A. Mainuddin Monem, Deputy Managing Director of Abdul Monem Limited. Do we have sir here with us today? Unfortunately, he won't be here with us today, but do we have any representatives from Abdul Monem Limited? No? They do? Okay, thank you. He's on his way, so he'll be personally taking it from us later. Thank you. Let's start with the silver sponsorship. Bikash Limited, may I please request Ms. Saima Ahsan, Deputy General Manager, External and Corporate Affairs Division from Bikash Limited to please come on stage. Thank you. Our silver sponsor, Mutual Trust Bank. Do we have any representatives from Mutual Trust Bank who could please honor us on stage? No? Okay, we'll contact them accordingly. Thank you. We also have two supporting sponsors. Can we please have on stage Saad Hossein Khan, Director of A.H. Khan and Company and Team, to please come up on stage. May I now please request our another supporting sponsor from Singapore, Sanjeev Katani, CEO of Better Business Governance Singapore, to please honor us on stage. Thank you so much, Sir Dalvi. Thank you. May I please request our guests to please take their seats? Thank you so much. Can we have a big round of applause for all our sponsors present here today? Now, we would like to request our session chair for ICBM 2019, Dean of Bragg Business School, Bragg University, Professor Dr. Muhammad Mahbub Rahman, to please come up to the podium and say a few words for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Adiba. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'd like to begin by thanking the Honorable Minister, even though she's unable to join us. Her consent to be the chief guest for today's program, would like to thank her for that, and we look forward to her stewardship, and we want to thank her for supporting this conference. The hazard of being the last speaker is, of course, that you slowly observe everything from your written speech being covered by the speakers before you. And then there are a lot of eager faces that I'm facing right now. And I don't know if it's because they are eager to have me finish quickly or they're eager to listen to what I have to say. Regardless, I'll try to make the most of it with a few words, as Adiba mentioned. Why is BRAC Business School arranging this conference? And that question is actually important to us. And I think it's necessary to consider maybe some higher order questions in order to be able to answer that. What basically our mission is, and even where our management education in Bangladesh is headed. I was slightly placed on the spot. We had a consultant come in who will be working on IT for the campus here at BRAC University. And the first question he asked me, I was prepared to tell him about all the problems that I think IT can solve, but the first question he asked me was, where do you see management education in 5 years? This was 2 days ago. What was wonderful, being unprepared to answer at that point in time, was that I could speak from my heart. And he asked for one word that I could use to describe management education. And that word already has been used by my boss, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, which is relevance. We want to be in a position where our primary stakeholders, our students, and one of our most important stakeholders, which is, of course, industry, recruiters of our students, to feel that what we do is relevant. Now, of course, this is a difficult task for a business school all over the world. Our friends from industry have been saying for some time now in Bangladesh that academia and industry are hopelessly disconnected. And in response, many academic institutions have been not responding. The complaint is usually that graduates are not ready for industry. Now, I say that it's a difficult task for us because we not only have to make graduates ready for industry, we want them to have very successful professional lives. 10 years ago, industry never said anything about coding. 10 years ago, industry did not talk about blockchain AI. And with one estimate, a graduate of BRAC Business School in 2019 will be changing jobs about 7 times in his or her lifetime, which means that we also have, from the school, an added responsibility to make sure that our students or our graduates eventually, they're able to succeed regardless of that professional context. The solution to all of this is partnerships. It's building partnerships. And while you see conferences in Bangladesh now arranged by other universities, I think what's really distinctive about ICBM, and it's reflected in the theme, is that this is really 100% industry sponsored. And I think that indicates the willingness and the exceptional nature of the sponsors of this wonderful, wonderful event. The situation is, of course, not specific to Bangladesh. It's specific to management education. And today it's recognized that the collective, or collectively recognized, that the purpose of business education is to help individuals and businesses realize how and what it needs to be done, how to make or how to design business activities eventually that lead to global prosperity. And for that to happen, there is a need for industry and academia to become solid partners and participate at this nexus of theory and practice. So this is not a marketing gimmick. That's what I'm trying to say. And this obviously could have only been possible by the generous contribution of our sponsors. Each one of them have been thanked, and I still want to mention them again. ACI Group, our platinum sponsor, gold sponsors, Abdul Munem, BRAC Bank, IPDC Finance, Runner, and silver sponsors, Mutual Trust Bank. And I met a special individual, Mr. Khan, who just came up to me and said he took a certificate from me 2 years ago. Thank you very much, participants. And this conference has been made possible by the unrelenting work of the conference secretariat, that's the BBS parlance for the organizing committee. And I think just by looking around the room, the diversity that I see, the absolute brilliance that I know of, and when I see individuals who are from industry as well as from academia, well represented, giving up their Friday mornings, which is for corporate Bangladesh, I think that's the most precious morning. I am confident that we have what it takes to make sure that ultimately we'll be a place of relevance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your kind insights, sir. I'm sure the entire room was very eager and looking at you, not for you to end your speech, but to listen to all these beautiful words that you had to say. Thank you so much. That would be the end of our inaugural ceremony of ICBM 2019. We would now like to offer free tea refreshments for you waiting outside for you. We'll take a short break for 15 minutes, and then we will start our first keynote presentation from 10:15 a.m. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to resume our first keynote presentation for International Conference of Business and Management for 2019. May I please request all our guests to please take their seat. I would now like to resume our first keynote presentation. May I please request our two session chairs, Professor Dr. Salauddin Ahmed, BRAC Business School, BRAC University. Sir, would you please honor us on stage? Thank you. As a session chair. May I please request Professor Dr. Hui Mingwei from Taiwan Chung-Wan Christian University to please come up on stage as well. Thank you. I would now like to request our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Zhongru Li, Department of Marketing, National Chung Sing University, Taiwan, to please take a seat on the stage. Thank you. And our industry talk speaker, Mr. M. Anisuddola, Chairman of ACI Group, to please come join us on stage as well. Thank you. I would now hand over the session to our honorable session chairs and request them to conduct the ceremony, conduct the session. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. In fact, I was not supposed to be chair as a kind of a proxy. Anyway, I love to be a proxy sometime. So thank you very much. And with me, Dr. What is your name? Dr. Wei is also co-chairman. So in fact, the job of the chairman is very easy. They have to sit here just for the time being. And I welcome you all, and I hand over the mic. There are two speakers, Dr. Lee and Mr. Anisuddola. Dr. Lee is a professor who will tell something about the marketing, I suppose. And Mr. Anisuddola is a practitioner, is one of the top industrialists. So he talk about the business industry. So two relevant people will be speaking. I hand over the mic to Dr. Wei. Okay.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. This is a first session, a keynote speaker. I'm honored to chair the meeting. There are two speakers in this session. Each speaker will speak about 20, 25 minutes, and then we have 5 minutes of question. First speaker is Professor Dr. Chong-Ru Lee from the National Chongqing University in Taiwan. The second speaker is from Industrial, Mr. Alice Dollar from the ACI Group. It's an honor for me to chair the meeting. Before we waste any time, we'd like to invite the first keynote speaker, Professor Lee, to deliver the talk. Shall we give him a applause?
Can someone help to change your projector? Yeah, yes. Time is limited, so I will present 3 topics, but it's not projected. Okay, actually, I bring 3 topics that I want to share with you. So let's go quick one by one. First one is talk about the finance investment. Because now there are so much information online, but we always want to know which information is useful for the investor to invest money in some agricultural industry. So that's where we come from. So first, we look at what the definition of sustainability from UN. Actually, there are 17 goals. You can Google it online, then you will go through it. I don't spend time here. So let's restart again, okay? Let me introduce who I am first. Actually, I'm a professor in National Chongqing University in Taiwan, and also I'm the vice chairman of IIS. Okay. IAAS is established in 1918 in Singapore, and we try to use agriculture as a platform and to make Asia sustainable in food. So if you are interested, you can look at our website. What we are doing is that we also have a journal called the IJAITG. So after this conference, if you are interested in our journal, welcome you to submit it. The full name of the journal is called Agriculture Innovation, Technology, and Globalization. Actually, what it means, it covers everything, okay? So this is where I'm doing, not just in the university, but also involved in some international association. And it's my honor to know your professor, Dr. Hamid in Thailand 3 years ago. Actually, it's another international conference. At that time, he and me are all the keynote speakers, and that's a reason that I come here. And it's really, really my honor to be here because it's my first time to come to Bangladesh, and I find that your people are full of energy. You are eager to know something, okay? So today I present you 3 topics. The first one is that from a financial viewpoint, if you have money, for example, you came from a bank and you want to invest in agriculture, where you can invest and how you invest, in which months that you should invest. That's a question that we ask ourselves, okay? So we got an idea, okay, if this is a question, how to solve it. Then we go to Google and find many interesting things. In the end, we found that in America, they have a very good system called the PMI in the first line. Yeah, what they do is that every month, they ask the purchasing managers in a big company, and only 12 questions. For example, how is the inventory goes compared to the previous month? This month's inventory level is higher or lower or is the same? So just a simple question, higher, lower, or the same. So for the people who fill the questionnaire, just takes 1 minute. But he gathers 250 big companies' purchasing managers' opinion, and then use very simple calculations. And the result is an index called the PMI. So we got an idea. Why not we apply this concept in agriculture? Okay, that's our research goals. So I will skip some of the slides. If you like, I can share my slides to you without any questions. So we call it Agriculture Purchasing Managers Index. Okay, we start to publish or broadcast this idea 2 years ago. Okay, and now I have several students working on this area. But we think that more countries should involve in these concepts because PMI is used so popular in different countries, China, American, Taiwan, Australia, etc. So many manufacturing-focused countries that usually use PMI to do the forecasting, to tell the people how the economic status monthly. So agriculture APMI also can use for agricultural purpose, okay? So here it tells you the history of PMI. Now 40 countries use this concept to calculate the simple, unique, very useful index. So in Taiwan, we try to find out how to do it. So we calculate which industry is the biggest one in Taiwan, and we found that it's pig. So we start to do the research from the pig. But the way that we do is different from PMI, because in Taiwan we have a computer auction to auction and determine the initial price for the wholesale price. So farmers, you just raise your pig, and then you send it to the wholesale market. Then the computer auction will determine the initial price for this pig. The idea is from Dutch. Okay, they auction the flour. Now we use it in auction, not just flour, also the vegetable, flour, and the pig, and etc. Important agricultural sectors. So we go to the database of our government-owned, and we found that actually there are 3 ways that we can generate APMI. We just do one thing, is a database. So there are some more areas for the people. If you want to involve, you can enter this area. One is a questionnaire. Just like I told you, PMI, they use very simple questionnaire to collect data. Actually, you can apply that here. Second, database. That's what we do in Taiwan. But your government should have an agriculture auction database. Then you can follow the way that we do. So is AI. Everyone knows the power of the AI. What you have to do is to develop some algorithm to do the forecasting. And that's what we will do this year, okay? I skipped something. First, we look at the database of what we have in Taiwan. And we find there are 17 categories, just like this. These are all the items. So it's good because it shows us some data is there. Then we collect the variables. So we compare the PMI, okay? Because in PMI, some variables are already there. So we will get the idea, okay, these are the good variables for manufacturing. How about these variables if we use it in agriculture? So it's a comparison. It shows here. But the second question is that if variables are here in the right side, can we have data? If no data, then it's useless, right? So in the end, we found that, for example, for pig industry, the variables that we found very useful, and we can have data on only 6 variables. So we do calculations, okay? All these mumbo jumbos I skip because it's some kind of economics methodology, very confusing people, right? But the result shows it's good. It's a good forecasting because in Taiwan, we found that every year, third month, it means every year in March, the number, the index is always low. So we ask the businessman, what happened? Why every year in March, then the APMI index number is low? They tell us your calculation is correct because February is a Chinese New Year. So everyone celebrate a big holiday, so eat lots of meat. So no way you will eat so much in March. So you will try to eat more vegetables. In such a case, the pig business will go down. So we think this is a good approach that we can use in agricultural sectors. And now in Taiwan, we already do 6 industries, including the pig, the chicken, egg, and the 2 kind of fish, and also one is, what is this? Rice. So we have 6 big industry, and we have some experiments, and we, after this talk, if some of you interested, no matter you come from the financial sector or research sector, I think we can work on in some way, okay? This is one of the topic. Time is limited, so sorry, I have to hurry up. Second is related to marketing. Now, you can find that online, everywhere, sell products, right? But how to sell it successfully? That's a key problem for marketing professors. So my students always come to me and ask how to sell. Then in the end, we propose one model called the CCB. There are 2 C. So I call this is the first C. We call it C1. And the middle one is C2. So this is C1, this is C2, and this is B. What does it mean? B is business. Now, business try to sell products to the consumers. That's what we call the B2C. But how C are attracted by you? In the old way, we will use branding, okay? Branding here, brands here, and put it in the department store or retail stores, try to attract customers' eyes. That's a traditional way. But think about if this product is so valuable, so expensive, so unique, then how you sell it? Then we think that CCB model is a good one, okay? Let me give you a small example, okay? For the ladies in Taiwan, they have a long hair, then they will have to curl it. Then how to tie it? They will use small things to tie it. It's very cheap. It's only 0.3 US dollars for 1 piece. But some guys have import a very expensive one from American. For each piece, it costs 10 US dollars. So you see, 0.3, and the other one is 30 US dollars. It's totally different. So when they enter Taiwan market, they have questions. How to sell this? So in the end, they found that the beauty of their product is so multifunctional. So in the end, they found a lady who is a swimming teacher, okay? She's a coach, teach you how to swim in the ocean, to see the fish in the ocean, okay? That's her job. And they find, how about this? We give you for free, and please wear it on your hair and every day, and let's see what's going on. In the end, the result is so good because the swimming coach says that when I get off the ocean, my hair is completely like before I jump into the ocean. And I take it out, no hair get crash, okay? So she is so happy. And now she tells her students who like to learn how to swim in the ocean, this is the best product for your hair. So now it becomes a community. And they all talk about this product. And the idea is from CCB. C1 is this swimming coach, okay? She has her own community. That's called second C. What they do, they can tell the B what they want. Okay, give you another example. There's also a case in Taiwan. I want to buy a car, let's say Toyota. If I send email to Toyota, they don't care about me because I only buy 1 car. But if I ask my community, my students, my friends, I want to buy a new car, okay, and the model is fixed. Is anyone interested? Maybe some of my students or my colleagues, they will say, okay, I join you. So maybe I will get how much? Let's say 10 or 15 orders. Then if I send the email to Toyota, what will they do? They will send a manager to me. They will say, okay, what do you need? Okay, what's your special need for the car from a Toyota? So it will become a negotiation process. And I think in future, if your product is really good, this is a way to promote your products. Otherwise, you have so many websites here, there, and shopping websites all around you. But customers get confused. Which one they should order, they should buy it from somewhere. And these are the successful cases that we found online. The right one is a lady. She always copy what the movie stars make up. So she will say, okay, this is the movie star makeup. I will copy it in the end, you see, almost the same, right? So now so many fans follow her. Now she starts a cosmetics factory. And now, of course, she is rich. Okay, this is also another case. What she does, she is the left one, C1. And the left side is the same, okay? Two young boys, they always tell jokes for the office lady and the office man. So many people get together to see their jokes every day. So they have a bigger community. So they talk to a big company, okay? Let's order something together. So what will be the discount or what's a special offer that you will do for us? So that's what we call the CCB. And, we found many real cases is happening in the whole world. You may not know that's called the CCB model, but actually from an academic research viewpoint, we find that this is very important because you can calculate the weight, okay? Which C1 is good. How to choose a good C1. Second, how to choose a good B. Number 3, how to build the channel from C1 to B. Now we can think about email, but why not let's have a workshop like this, okay? Everyone who sit here are all C1. Anyone who stand here may be a B or opposite, okay? Who sit there are all B, and who stand here, C1. So it will be a platform, right? So it will be a very, very modern way, okay? That's a second topic that I want to share with you, and for these bumbo jumbos that I skip, okay? We do a real case study. That's my student's photo. She came from a very rich family. So when she was young, her parents take her travel around the world. Whenever she goes somewhere, she will take a photo. But what she like is that beautiful photo without her. So she has thousands of beautiful photos. Now, we try to build a community. How to do it? Okay, take the beautiful letter in the middle. In the right side, just write some simple words, and then plus one English song. Okay, and the song is related to the words what she write, and also related to the photo. And just 1 month, she get 7,000 fans. And most of the fans are the European people, okay? So my student work hard because when Taiwan is nighttime, it's their daytime. So she needs to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning in Taiwan and then send a photo and write something. And then next day, when she wake up, she gets surprised. Oh, more fans comes out. So we are doing a second experiment. So we have so much community. If we can have a good product, is it possible C1 link to B? So this is Taiwan herbal tea, okay? And today we don't have time to introduce this tea to you. But anyway, this is a herbal tea. You can drink it with cold water. You don't need to use hot water to make it and stir it. Okay, very high-tech product. So we try to use this to attract European people to see what's their feeling. But so far we got some problems because exporting is not so easy. In the beginning, we don't consider that. We just say it's fun, right? So if someone wants to buy it, we sell it. But for tea, usually you need to have some certificate to prove it's anti this, anti that, okay? But anyway, this is a second research topic. Now let me jump to number 3. Is it too quick for you? No, right? Okay. Number 3 is that blockchain, okay? I went to Singapore to present the blockchain. We call it a bus chain. Actually, it's a bus. It's a blockchain of a university and shops. What does it mean is that if my students behave good in the classroom, I give them coins, okay? And what they can do for these coins, they can go to buy something with discounted price. Of course, for the shops who involved in this system, we already have an agreement, okay? How much discount you will give it to my students. So students will go there and transfer their coins from me to the shop. So the shops will have more and more coins. What will they do? They do for those coins. The shop has to ship the coins back to me. And what I will do, I will use the number of coins from each different shops. If you give me more coins, I will promote you more. Okay, so it's a sustainable cycle and very successful now in Taiwan. So I show you something. This is our system. Okay, just use a mobile phone, then you can get on it. And these are all the small shops that we cooperate with. Actually, this is a street food. Think about that. For the street food owner, no one cares about them, right? We only care about the big companies. Is their economics, business is good or not? But how about these small stamps owners? Actually, if a university interested in them, they are so happy. So they always say that no problem, we cooperate with you. And that's what we are doing in Taiwan. And they are happy because you use a mobile phone, everything becomes possible, okay? And this is my student, okay? She really go to a shop and buy it, and get the experiments. So in the end, the students write reports to me, says that they are quite shocked, quite surprised. So much high-tech technology can be applied to these small shops, okay? And this is how we promote it, because in the computer, in the mobile, 1/3 of the screen size is for the promotion. So it will move on. So if the more coins the shops ship back to me, so it will put it in the first page. If you give me a second highest one, it will be in the second page. So we use this way to encourage those small shops to cooperate with the university, okay? This is what we did in Taiwan, okay? 3 topics now, 3+1, okay? Because you are so wonderful audience. Now, that's what we are doing now in Taiwan is key factors of to build a blockchain platform for rice, okay? Now, what we are doing is that we interview the real experts to grow the rice. He said this is the standard process. There are 10 stages. In each stage, it has some key factors. Okay, these factors will influence the quality of the rice when you harvest it. So we go back to ask the investor, okay? If a small farmer, they have a good rice, and they can guarantee their rice quality is really good. And using a blockchain technology, will you accept it or not? And what factors that you concern most? Okay, and this is what they say. Okay, for these variables. So these are what the businessman says they want to see in the blockchain. And this is experts to tell us what is good quality rice come from, how you produce it. So what we have to do is to do the matching, okay? How to match the customer's demand and also farmers' skill, match it together. And then put all the necessary information in the blockchain. And then we will teach the farmers, okay, this is what you have to do. No matter what you do for your field every day, you just put it on the blockchain. Then no one can change all the information in the blockchain. That's the advantage of a blockchain. So in the end, businessmen can come to a blockchain platform to double check, okay, this quality is really good or not. So in this way, we can help the small farmers do international business. That's actually what we are doing now, okay? So time is up. Thank you very much, and it's my honor to be here, and see you. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Lee, for the wonderful talk, a lot of materials. Any question from the audience? Anybody want to ask a question? If not, oh, okay, yeah. Come. You introduce yourself and then ask a question, okay?
I am Professor P.T. Mishra from India, Centurion University. My question is to the speaker, something like You have showcased many tools, maybe ECA, principal component analysis, finding out its values, then blockchain mechanism to find some solution. In fact, farmer underdeveloped places, they have no knowledge regarding all this high-tech thing. Is it possible like end-to-end solution, like starting from farmer, again coming back to farmer, using all this PCA analysis, blockchain analysis together for a sustainable development, like bringing synergy, institute and the farmer. Farmer get benefit, what the institute vision is there, finding out something like this tool is better, this tool is better, this tool combination with this tool is best. Can such kind of thing be developed and made available on web, like Amazon Web Service and all, so that any common farmer with small mobile phone can use it and get the benefit, and we can track it, whatever our dream is really working. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your question. I think now what we are doing is just an initial stage, because there are so many related questions that we need to solve. And different region, different country has different systems, how the way they grow, the way they distribute it, the way they buy it and sell it should be different. So far I don't have any solution to your question, but that's what research, the beauty of the research we have to go in now, okay? But thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you for question and answer. Because of time constraint, I think if you have any other question, you can approach Professor Lee. Oh, you want to ask a quick question? Okay.
I'm Ferdous Salihin. I came from University of Uttara, Malaysia as a doctoral candidate here. In fact, blockchain is a new concept in Bangladesh. Still is very, it's not common. So my question is, to implement blockchain, what are the basic infrastructure required so that we can implement? Because in terms of Bangladesh, Taiwan is quite advanced in terms of technology or other infrastructure like telecommunication. So could you just highlight it briefly in the context of Bangladesh?
Okay.
Infrastructure required to implement it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. The beauty of Taiwan is we are good at in ICT, so which means technology, computer, communications. So actually, what I did is that blockchain is popular in finance sectors in Taiwan. So the finance people already invest a lot of money in blockchain. So the price, how to build a blockchain platform, goes down significantly. That's why I have the chance to ask them to come and write a platform for agriculture in blockchain technology. Usually now the price that we spend to have the case that I show you in Singapore is 30,000 American dollars. It's quite cheap in Taiwan to have a blockchain like this. And they try to invest more people and more resources because they know the future, the agricultural business will grow up. And in terms of the technology, I think the hard part to write the blockchain application or platform is smart contract. That's where the blockchain come from, okay? Which means that I sign the contract with you, and you sign contract with me, and the other two people do the same thing, and then you sign contract with him, then automatically I will sign contract with him. That's a hard part. So when the case is small, it's easy, but if the case are more organizations involved, you will find that, oh, it's hard. That's the reason it's called a block, link together becomes a blockchain. Okay, so if you are interested in blockchain, maybe we can discuss later. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the answer and question. I think we'll invite the second speaker, Mr. Anis Dorala, to present his talk on industry. Okay.
Respected Chair, members of the Academia, fellow students, I'm always a student. Do we know that 40% of all the jobs we have now will disappear in 10 years? Do we also know that 65% of the students who are in primary school now will be having jobs that do not exist now? Also, do we know that in France a study was made on the impact of internet, that 800,000 jobs got lost as a result of internet, but 1.4 million jobs were created to support the internet industry. Do we also know that 2 billion jobs will be lost by 2030? 2 billion jobs mean about 50% of all the employment on this planet. So this will be gone by 2030. Finally, do we know the name of the company in Bangladesh who has exported robots to Korea and Japan? Amazing, but it's true. The name of the company is Planeter Limited. Our future is full of challenges and opportunities. Technology and innovation are going to fundamentally change the way products and services are conceived, delivered, and consumed. In fact, the way technologies are being developed in numbers and in varieties that it will soon overwhelm us. Klaus Schwab, the founder of World Economic Forum, he said in Davos last year, "Let this be a wake-up call for everyone to realize that in today's connected world, there could be drastic change of our fortune if some disruptive technology takes away our competitive advantages." That is a profound statement, thought-provoking. Let us see how the past industrial revolutions took place and what were the consequences. The first industrial revolution took place in the advent of the steam engine. Its driver was steam power and powered loom. And the changes that it brought about was new manufacturing process, and an impact was industrial cities were born. The second industrial revolution, the drivers were electricity and assembly line. And the changes that it made was mass production, and the impact was economies of scale, which reduced cost and increased consumption. The third industrial revolution took place right when I joined my first job. That is when the third industrial revolution started to take place. And it was driven by computing technology, and it was very unnerving for us at that time that so many jobs will be lost to machines. And our secretaries were particularly nervous because they could now see that we could do the typing on electronic typewriters. ATM machines were introduced around that time, and the bank tellers were in trouble. But soon we found that the bank tellers started servicing those ATM machines, so everybody benefited from increased activity. Drivers of Industry 4.0 are the following. Next slide, please. Some of these I would articulate. The artificial intelligence, that is, machinery is demonstrating intelligence through learning. Supercomputing, big data analysis made easier. Biotechnology brings new ideas on human genes and editing, which will revolutionize the medical science. Space technologies, drones, aerial mobility, which will revolutionize the way products and people may be transported. Internet of Things, which is connectivity of devices. Blockchain and distributed ledger. It is an incorruptible digital ledger of electronic transaction that can be programmed. Not just fiscal transaction, but virtually everything of value. Then there is geoengineering, addressing the climatic concerns. Automation and robotics eliminates the necessity of human intervention in the production process. How these technologies will impact on us. We'll have the economic impact, we'll have the societal impact, and we'll have political impact. Then comes that this will reset the playing field, accelerate rate of change, convergence, technology advancement, new source of growth or inequalities, technology cost and investment will reduce. At this stage, I would like to show you a short video on by KPMG, the global consulting firm, and this beautifully illustrates the impact of the new technology on our lives.
The fourth industrial revolution has begun, and you have the chance to be part of it. This isn't going to be like before. It's not about the steam that powered our factories in the first revolution, or the mass production model that dominated the second, or even the emergence of computer-driven systems from the third revolution that we're living in today. Industry 4.0 is about connectivity. It's an opportunity to radically change the way industry responds to the needs of society. As previous industrial revolutions were led by innovations in manufacturing processes and systems, the advancement of Industry 4.0 will be driven by a smart, interconnected, pervasive environment. The opportunities for disruption are huge, and those left behind will feel it acutely. There is still space for leaders of this new revolution to emerge, but the race has already started. Understanding what current leaders are doing will help you join them. KPMG formally examined what those trailblazers were doing in their factories and their offices, and it revealed some thought-provoking findings. Our research highlighted a number of areas that current Industry 4.0 leaders are focusing on. Leaders are planning ahead with clear strategic vision, driven by performance and tying investment to proven opportunities for growth, progress, and innovation. They are focused on discovering how smart products and processes can be developed. Integration is key. The major players are moving away from isolated silo-driven development, which limits scope and value of new projects. Instead, they are moving towards large-scale and proactive integration across their enterprise and among their customers, supply base, and products. To ensure they are aware of every possible opportunity Industry 4.0 technology has to offer. Perhaps most importantly, they are not afraid to think big and act bold. This means nurturing innovation, developing disruptive thought processes aimed at devastating the status quo, and looking for opportunity in every element of their value chain, from which products are designed and how they are produced, to who they are sold to and how they are purchased. Your organization may be radically different in the future, with a range of products, services, and processes you can't currently predict. Do you want to join the leaders of Industry 4.0? Can you afford not to? Then our advice is, plan ahead. Fight radical change with integrated radical action. And embrace the fact that it's time for manufacturers to step up and start making smart, bold moves. If you don't, you could be left behind. You have this.
Thank you. Now, a few days ago, the advisor to the Prime Minister on Industry and Investment, he attended a meeting on Industry 4.0, where he said that we should get ready for the fourth industrial revolution. My humble submission is that we are already too late. We have to now embrace the new technology and reorganize ourselves on a war footing. The implication of some of the technologies are very worrying indeed. Digital Bangladesh must come forward and harness the opportunities. Let us see how equipped we are to face the challenges of Industry 4.0. Recently, the World Bank and HSBC have ranked us on our preparedness to handle the new technologies. Here is a slide showing our ranking in digital preparedness. And our preparedness for technological adoption needs attention as we try to gain higher economic ranking. While we have severe deficiencies and lack of preparedness, there are some very good stories in our case. We have innovated around the technologies by developing apps and introducing such services as Bikash, Rocket for for financial transactions, Pathao, Shahoj, Obhai for transportation, dalbhat.com for home deliveries, and these are good examples of our adoption of new technology. Now, in the process, we have to also consider the job loss that will take place as we adopt this Industry 4.0. Travel agents will no longer be required. You go to booking.com or Travelocity and you have all the reservations that you need to do. And travel agents will become redundant. Tellers, again, will have problem. Surveyors will no longer be required to measure anything. It will be all aerially done and will be very accurate. Journalists will be gone because you will have instant streaming or whatever you call on real life. Legal assistance, those searches will be meaningless. Now it will be all computer-based search of all information. Financial assistance also. And many more jobs will be lost. The new jobs that will be created are, you can see, blogger, sustainability manager, drone operator, data scientist, social media strategist. These jobs did not exist 10 years ago. What skills we need is a renowned job site called Monster have made a list of 10 skills to excel in the future workplace. Critical thinking, creativity, cognitive flexibility, complex problem solving, negotiation, people management, judgment and decision making, emotional intelligence, service orientation, coordination with others. Now the academia has got to adapt to these new requirements and adjust the curricula accordingly. Job seekers in future must possess curiosity, eagerness, adaptation, design thinking, adaptability, and such qualities. Bangladesh aspires to be a middle-income country by 2030. There are opportunities as well as challenges. The biggest and most formidable obstacle is going to be Industry 4.0 and its technological front. The challenges are from several directions. The emerging technology will create havoc with the present, and there will be chaos. The growth could be attained only if the appropriate initiatives are taken in earnest and in time. I was in Singapore and Thailand a few weeks ago. I found the daily newspapers there have news on meetings and seminars where skills development is the topic. Similarly, the papers have several advertisements on demand for skilled employees. We are much backward in these respects. We could make a list of initiatives that various stakeholders must take in order to prepare for the digital economy. Action plan for the government. We strongly suggest that the government undertakes support and facilitation initiative to create an enabling environment. Create a supportive, administrative and legal framework, adopt skills-enhanced initiatives to address the risk of skilled obsolescence and enable competitiveness, arrange joint platform for academia, industry, and current and upcoming workforce, support the industry and academia for faster adoption of the new technologies advancement, ensure smooth access to existing resources, and they must do this in a hurry. Action plan for industry, create a sense of urgency amongst all the stakeholders, bring insight on the changing environment, support the government in the legislative and administrative environment, collaborate with academia and share the updated skills requirement, participate in policy dialogue, public-private partnership in skills enhancements, massive efforts to train and retrain our employees. These are to be undertaken. And for the academia, they will undertake to define their engagement in the process. They will increase collaboration. Massive training sessions should be organized so that the technical staff can enroll to these programs. Academia should also consider the following areas: include contents in the syllabus, arrange training for the teachers, which is very important, and this should be done on a very urgent basis. Facilitate discussion session with government and industry, increase collaboration with the industry, participate in research. Can I take 5 more minutes? Okay. In Bangladesh, there is some realization, but no major initiative is noticeable. We are to wake up to the reality that technological innovation is at our front door. We should face it on a war footing. There is still time to prepare and be ready, but we must not lose any more time. We have to face the challenge of Industry 4.0 and come out winner. Each industrial revolution has brought for the mankind better quality of life, greater comfort, better health, and greater security. Yet, we cannot take the outcome for granted. Disruptive technologies may take away our competitive advantages and make a sector unviable overnight. We have to anticipate and act in time. If we are smart, we will be able to take the advantage of lower entry barrier and enter into new areas of industrial production. We are a nation of resilient, energetic youth. They are innovative and enterprising. We are to equip them with digital skills, and they will find new applications. I would like to conclude with the remark that our preparedness to harness the potential of Industry 4.0 will define how our next generation will remember us. Let's act before it is too late. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Anisudhar. It's an excellent talk, and we all enjoyed it, especially me, I enjoyed it. If there are any pressing questions, because I'm running out of time, please don't try to add knowledge right now. Ask questions only. It's very, yes? Because we are running short of time.
Sir, I would like to know, as ACE is one of the fastest growing company and you have businesses from agriculture to pharmaceuticals, as you discussed the Industry 4.0. So are you going to take any initiative to implement in your company? If you just highlight in brief, thank you.
I'm afraid we are as much behind in those as others. We are trying to take some initiative, but it's too early, and as a nation we are too late, so everything has to come in unison. We cannot uniquely go for anything by ourselves. You know, there are workers involved, the whole thing is very delicate, so one has to be quite careful in taking initiatives, in my view, that one should not jump the gun, one should be.
I'm afraid I have to put a guillotine right now. Sorry for that. And if you have any pressing question, you can discuss with him over the lunch and all that. I think it's better because we have to give other. It's an excellent talk. But I have some comprehension about technology. It should be a shared technology. It should not be developed by someone and just keep it there. And one thing I really afraid of, privacy and security. I'll not go into detail about that, but these are very important things. Anyway, coming from the Joshua Waywood Arkwright of Industrial Revolution, we have come with there, and it's an excellent paper you have given as food for thought for us. And thank you, Dr. Lee, also for his excellent blockchain and all that things, which is a part of technology. And it was my pleasure to just say a few words, and thank you very much, and looking forward to other papers. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to our distinguished speakers for enlightening us with such great views on blockchain as well as Industry 4.0, which is the emerging technology. Thank you. May I please request our Vice Chancellor of Brack University, Professor Dr. Vincent Chang, sir, to please come up on stage and give a token of appreciation to our distinguished speakers. Thank you. May I please request Professor Dr. Zhangru Lee from National Ching Sing University to please come up on stage as well. And we have Mr. Ansudol as well. Can we please have the first request for Professor Dr. Zhangru Lee from National Ching Sing University, Taiwan. Thank you for your beautiful keynote presentation on blockchain. Thank you. Now, a token of appreciation for Industry Talk speaker, Mr. M. Anisuddola, Chairman of ACI Group. Thank you for your beautiful insights as well. Thank you, yes. We would now like to move on to our parallel session 1A. I would like to request 5 to 10 minutes from everyone to please give our organizers some space to put partitions on this room so that we can prepare A, B, and C. And I'm hoping everyone has their program book on them, all our participants. So I would like to request you to please move ahead and go to your individual respective respective rooms so that we can start our parallel session in about 10 to 15 minutes time. We are very sorry that we're running a little bit late on schedule, but please bear with us. Thank you so much and have a very successful conference.
I'm honored to stand in front of you as a session chair this morning. So I will be successor with Professor Dr. Muhammad Azinul Batan, and the moderator is Mr. Muhammad Atikul Bashir. Yes. So we have 90 minutes for each presentation.
For the total session, we have 90 minutes.
Total session, we have 90 minutes, and we have 8 presentations. So because of we start late, so we only have 6 minutes for presentations, and maybe 2 minutes for question and answer, and maybe a question. And after presentation, the certificate will be handled to presenters. So now I invite the 5th presenter. Yes, Its topic embedded digital supply chain in academic institution, a literature review by Samazur Khan. Yeah. And
that's it.
that's it. And Muhammad Mahmud Habib, Engku Muhammad Nazri. Here your time, sir.
Yes.
6 minutes. Thank you.
Before you start, can we just give a
Which one?
sorry to say, actually, we break the order of the sequence. We give the chance to, initially to Mr. S.M. Manjur Hussain, because after that he will go to conduct another session as a session chair. So thank you very much.
Before the first session starts, I would like to ask that whether all the participants of parallel session 1B, are they present? May I please request of all the participants of parallel session 1B to take their seats. We will start within next 3 minutes.
I'm very delighted to introduce you to our 4 speakers for today. Our keynote speaker would be Professor Dr. Razamin Ramli, Professor, School of Quantitative Sciences, Director, Innovation and Commercialization Center of UUM Malaysia. We also have for our industry talk speaker, Mr. A.S.M. Mainuddin Monem, Deputy Managing Director, Abdul Monem Limited. We have with us today our invited talk speaker, Dr. Saleuddin Ahmed, Brack Business School, Brack University. And we have our industry talk speaker, Mr. Syed Abdul Momen, Head of SME Banking, Brack Bank Limited. May I please request our session chairs for today to please come up on stage and help conduct the session. May I please request our first session chair, Professor Dr. Zhongru Li, Department of Marketing, National Chung Sing University, Taiwan, to please come up on stage. Thank you. And can I please also request Professor Imran Rahman, University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh, to please help us conduct our session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. On behalf of my co-session chair, Professor Lee, we are very happy to be part of this interesting session. We have 4 speakers. The first is the keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Razamin Ramli, School of Quantitative Science, University Utara, Malaysia. Then we will have Dr. Saleuddin Ahmed, Professor at the Brack Business School, Brack University. Third, we will have Mr. Syed Abdul Momen, who's the head of SME Banking of Brack University. And the fourth, last speaker will be Mr. Mainuddin Momen, who's the Deputy Managing Director of Abdul Monem Limited. So maybe I'll request Professor Lee to maybe at this point say something.
Okay, welcome everyone. Come back to this section. This is a very important section because we have very good speakers from different areas, some from industry, some from universities. So I think it's time. Let's welcome them one by one. So let's have the first one. Okay. Yeah. The first speaker is okay? Yeah, your turn.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I'm supposed to show that way. Is my slide? How do I cannot control. Now I can control it. All right. So thank you for introduction of myself. I'm sorry again. I would like to apologize again for our Vice Chancellor of University Utara Malaysia, Prof. Bashawir, because he's not able to be here with us due to health condition unexpectedly. Yeah. So again, thank you for understanding. But okay, let me share some of my research. My area, my background is mathematics, statistics, and also artificial intelligence. I have been working more on modeling of real life problems, and my interest, I focus more on social science problem. Social problem. So I will share one of the problem, which is harmony, the harmonious situation. Can I use this one also? Sure. Okay. I think it's not comfortable for me to keep on put my head down. Okay. So since we are focusing on more of social problem, so I have to kind of upgrade my skill. So many of the real life problems, it's actually need both qualitative and quantitative types of data. So that's why all of my research are mixed methodology type. So today I'm going to present the title Malaysian Harmony Index based on culture and identity of our Malaysian nation. Okay, maybe this problem, I'm not sure whether it exists in Bangladesh or not. But in Malaysia, we are a diverse nation. We have many race or ethnic group. So the issues of racial divisions tends to exist. Whether we like it or not, there is a tendency of this ethnicity issue. So it is quite a challenging problem for our country, Malaysia, when we want to go into economic stability, prosperity and security. So that is the main reason why I pick it up this topic. And we have been independence already more than 60 years, but we are still like having issues. Such as, if you see this data, this is GPI, stand for Global Peace Index. These are real data, okay? We have Sandbag Racism Index. This data doesn't show good current situation, you know? So we have to do something about it because we want to prosper. As a nation, we want to prosper. So that brings the issue of modeling the harmony index, and we analyze the most relevant main factor are our strength, culture, and identity. So in this study or project, it's a big project actually. We have to break down into many sub area to try to overcome the situation. So of course, our main objective is we want to model a quantitative or mathematical model to cater this problem. But we have to identify what are the main characteristics or the factors or the criteria. Then only we have to, we can figure out what is the best or suitable method that we can apply or adapt. Okay, so that's what we are supposed to do. We collect the criteria and we identify through relevancy or weights, and then we model it. This is our framework. This is our framework. So the beginning part involves qualitative data collection, interviewing, focus groups, and the second part, we have to collect data through weight allocations, and we formulate it, and we embed all this weight into mathematical formula. So that's the step. Roughly, I already mentioned about the step. We of course we get all these criteria from the literature review as well, but we have to justify with the expert in the area throughout Malaysia. So that's the time that we have to collect our data qualitatively. Then we do ranking and rating. Then only we model it using multi-criteria approach. Here we use rank order centroid, ROC, and then we embed this ROC into congruent scoring model. It's a quantitative model. Then it becomes harmony index. All right, so our first output, the criteria, we found that based on culture, there are 11 important criteria, and based on identity, there are seven important criteria. So from there, we do ranking, we do weight allocation, we use that ROC method, and we arrange this weight according to its importance, from highest to lowest. Lowest means is maybe not so important. For example, the number 17 and 18 is not quite important to the expert that we have interviewed. So then we plug in that weight, the allocated weight, into this scoring model, where this is the formula for the ROC, where we plug into this scoring model, and we achieve the H, which is the value for the harmony index. Okay, so this is a small sample. Our sample is big. This is one of our initial sample. We are currently still collecting many more hundreds and hundreds of real respondents. But for this data that I got, we our initial samples of about 68 respondent only. We plug into the formula just now, and in this case we got a value of 7.55. So it is saying that this is part of the ROC. It reflects that we changed the 7.5 to percentage if it's easy for people to understand. So it's about what, 75.5%, which is the indication, a rough indication of the current harmonious situation in Malaysia. But we have yet to collect more data to represent real information across Malaysia, whether it is East Malaysia or West Malaysia. So 75%, it depends on how we interpret it. Maybe not so good because it is not 90% and not 100%, right? So this is a good information and recommendation for our government to look into the issue, to do something about the situation if this it is reflecting the current situation. So our work in this case, we have established harmony index, an index similar to in the beginning, Professor was telling about productivity index. So index is good to be an indicator to show where we stand for that a particular situation. Yeah. So, but earlier I was saying that maybe Bangladesh does not have this issue. Maybe your diverse ethnicity is not as many as Malaysia. We have so many ethnic group. Among the biggest are the Malay, the Chinese, the Indian, and we have other ethnic groups in Sabah and Sarawak, which is even many more. So that is the challenges for Malaysia. From our model, we found that the top criteria that is more relevant to be considered are tolerance, mutual understanding, communication, and language. So maybe we have to focus more on that. And whatever weight that we have obtained, we embed in the model that in the end we call it Harmony Index. I think that's about it. Just want to explain that, to mention that our work, our project is quite a big project. It's under a special grant called Transdisciplinary Research Grant from our Ministry of Education. And this project has produced 3 PhD students, 3 master students, and about 10 Scopus Index articles. That is our appreciation to our ministry. Thank you with that.
Shall we wait for the questions till the end, since we are? Yeah. Thank you.
Since you are running down.
Yes. Thank you very, very much, Professor Ramli. We are a bit short of time because we the food was so good, we forgot the starting time, so we ate up the food as well as 30 minutes of this session. So my apologies because I'm going into my moderator role now. The 3 remaining distinguished speakers, I'm afraid I can allocate only 10 minutes per speaker. So can I invite on stage
Dr. Salahuddin Ahmed, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. 10 minutes. I'll try to stick to the... Anyway, I've been invited to talk. I first thought that what should I talk on? And then I was told that I should talk on the banking sector because I was the central bank governor once upon a time, long time back. And banking sector is not very exciting nowadays. And it's better that not to speak directly about the banking sector because I'm privy to many information which I shouldn't divulge to you. So it's not done also. অনেক কিছু বলা যাবে না যেটা আমি জানি anyway but I'll definitely touch. I'll not disappoint you with you, but very short, very quickly. I'll speak very rapidly. First of all, let me tell about what Bangladesh is about, and then in the context of Bangladesh I'll give you a global scenario of economic development and the business sector. Now Bangladesh, people used to say it would not be a viable country, basket case, and all that thing. But we have proved that it's not a basket case. Bangladesh has achieved remarkable progress in two specific fronts. One, that we have moved over to lower middle income country, which is a remarkable progress. Second, according to World Bank definition, and secondly, with the UNDP definition, we have moved to the developing country, not LDC. In fact, আমরা সংক্ষেপে বলতাম আমরা উন্নয়নশীল দেশ, আসলে officially we are LDC, least developed country, but we had moved over from the LDC to developing country, which is very unremarkable too. The two milestones, and that way Bangladesh has become a very a case, an example. People used to say that Bangladesh is a very surprise, development surprise, how with different problems, governance issue, political problems, and all that Bangladesh has achieved so far. I don't say it's a surprise. I think it's rather usual, and because it's not a surprise, because the contribution to development is the single most contribution of the farmers, laborers, workers, garment workers, and entrepreneurs. So I again repeat, these are the people who contributed to this. Let there be any government, least government, non-government, let the government sleep also sometime, I used to say. Let the government sleep, just take care of the law and order situation and foreign relations and some of the financial management, and people will do wonder. আমি সাধারণত বলি বাংলাতে পথের বাধা সরিয়ে দিন, মানুষকে কাজ করতে দিন. That's all. Nothing else is required. Anyway, I'll go to that other thing. But challenges are there. Challenges are abound, but I'll not go into detail of the challenges. First challenge, what we have achieved so far, the development, the fruits of development have not reached to the bottom level people. The inequality has increased, and there are a lot of inequality and concentration of wealth in a few hands. And remarkably, it is the inequality of income, and secondly, inequality of the wealth asset. And this has created a kind of vast disparity. Remember the struggle for independence of Bangladesh. We had political liberation, independence, and economic liberation. So these are the two things. But have we achieved the economic thing? So this is a major challenge. Now time has come, we have to look for the distribution side of it. We have been emphasizing growth only, development only, but we have not given attention to the distribution side. And we are trying to increase the size of the cake. Of course, it's good. You cannot divide the small cake because you'll not left with so many. So you increase the cake. But you go on expanding the cake and you divide yourself, and the size of the distribution is not being addressed. So there's a very interesting dictum, how to cut a cake fairly. At a cake kiভাবে কাটতে হয় fairly. Do you know that? The answer is very simple. He who cuts will not choose first. That's as simple as it. যে কাটবে সে প্রথমেই পছন্দ করবে না। তার মানে if you give the big cake to me, what I'll cut, I'll see the VC will get the maximum, I'll get something, Dean will get something, rest I'll leave it for you, and you will not get anything at all. So in our country, he who cuts first, they choose first. I'll not elaborate on these things, because that's what has been doing. Now the challenges, I'll just go very quickly. The challenges are the inequality, And then, of course, the economic challenges are low investment, business environment, and all these things, doing business, and also the low employment, and we said the jobless growth. Of course, it's not the jobless growth, but the growth of employment is less the rate of increase the labor force and rate goes increase. So these are basic problems. So we should not only look for economic development, we should go for the social development as well. And look at the health sector, look at the education sector. Education, we have increased the enrollment, but the quality of education. And we have this health sector, but health is really privatized. So these are some of the things we have to give the attention. And now, then comes, we are not talking about development. And development and without democracy, without governance doesn't mean anything. People do, of course, use some examples of other countries, we are aware. Korea has developed with dictatorship, China is developing, but these are all, these are not very good example of that. And this kind of development is not very desirable for us. So we should go for the development which really gives the kind of democracy, good governance, and I think you know the Amartya Sena, they have also articulated the development and governance go together. Now, having said that the basic problem, let's just touch at the banking sector a little bit. The problem in Bangladesh nowadays that we have people, very hardworking people, we have entrepreneurs, very smart, and they're very forward-looking entrepreneurs, but the problem with the governance first, then this is the problem of the institutions, and problem with the regulations and these different norms. Most of the rules and regulations are, you will see, there, but they're not very helpful for the business people. And the institutions, especially the banking and financial institution, I don't know whether those are helpful or not. They are helpful for a few. The concentration of wealth, concentration of credit, and all this. And recently, I have seen the ICBM research findings. It doesn't need any finding. You can see the people who are getting bank credit. Most of the bankers, and I see some of the bankers, so they know quite well that who are the people who are getting credit. So this concentration of wealth and the banking sector is I don't say it's a crisis, but I think banking sector is a nerve of the whole economic thing. It is a kind of you just cannot really ignore the nerve when the whole body is concerned. So unless it is corrected, and it will be very difficult for us. It is not that we do not know the problem. It is not that we do not know the solutions. It's not a rocket science. We know the problem, who are the creating problems, but it is the motivations or it is the goodwill whether we want to solve it or not. So that is really a problem for us, and I think this time come, and this we correct it, and it will be different. Now, just remember, if the finance sector is any problem, what will happen? Take the example of global financial crisis of 2007 and 8. It started with the financial sector, then it traveled to the real sector. American whole auto industry was destroyed, and the textile industry. Then it traveled to different other countries, and European countries have not yet been able to recover even. America has recovered its economy, but not. So you see, financial crisis will affect everybody, the real sector, especially the business people. I think unless it is corrected, it will be difficult. I remember one book, I possibly heard, Jean Tirole, the French economist who got the Nobel Prize in 2050. He's pronounced as Tirole, but it is not pronounced as Tirole. It's called Tirole. He wrote a book called Balancing the Banks, along with people, balancing. And they diagnosed the problems of the banks, which I found very pleasantly surprised. Most of them are applicable to Bangladesh. But those people didn't come to Bangladesh to study Bangladeshi problem. Governance, corruption, concentration, everything. I think if you have a time to, I see some of the journalists, they have already read the book, Balancing the Banks. Anyway, I'll stop there for the Bangladesh situation, now the global context. You see, global context is a kind of a mixed picture right now. The global development is in challenge. IMF has recently given a forecast of global growth of 3.3, which is down from 3.7. They just predicted that it will grow at the 3.7 in October. Now they have come down to 3.3. I'm afraid that growth projection will go down a little bit further also. So when the global growth goes down, the prospect of Bangladesh will also be a little bit affected because we are not an island. We are linked with the global world. So it is very, very, our garment industry, our export industry, our manpower, but everything is globally connected now. Though we are not 100% globally interlinked, but still the global problem is there. So this global situation will definitely affect, I think, the business people, the entrepreneurs will also keep their eyes open. Second is, you see, there's a problem of trade war. China and Russia, China and US is good, and this will definitely affect. Now, added to this trade war, now recently America has resorted to the trade war with the European Union. And now USA has now proposed that they'll impose tariff on European goods. Now look at this example, what will happen? Then definitely European countries will react. And WTO has already objected to this kind of. So USA started trade war with China, trade war with the European. So these will also happen because we export a lot of things to the Europe and US also. So you see, we have to keep our, so this is another. Now of course, UK, the Brexit, this is also effect. No deal Brexit might affect us. That is also another situation we have to keep open. So I'm trying to give some examples. I think I'm running out of time, but I'll finish with another 2 minutes that this is a major challenge. Another challenge has come globally. Central bankers are challenged now. It's not only Bangladesh, is a classic example, Bangladesh Bank, how they're doing. A lot of difference between when I ran Bangladesh Bank until 2009 and how it is run now. There's a lot of interference, lot of political influence there, but it is globally true. Federal Reserve Bank is also now Mr. Trump is now trying to influence. Same, the European Central Bank is trying to be influenced. So this is a challenge on the banking sector as a whole. The regulators will be intervened with. Economic decisions cannot be taken, it should be taken only by financial expert and economic consideration. If it is influenced by the political decisions, then it will be, I think, end of the business or end of the world. Not end of the world, of course. There will be some problem, another crisis. So I'll end with that. Of course, the challenge of sustainable development. And last but not least, the climate challenge, environment. That is its challenge. And I think business people should keep their eyes open so that they become very conscious about preserving climate, preserving the environment. It is only one planet we have. I don't think we can go to Mars and settle down there very easily. So I think the business people should preserve environment, and we should really have environment-friendly activities. And overall, all the people should benefit. I think that's all for me now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salahuddin Ahmed. Can I now request Mr. Syed Abdul Monam to come up to the stage to give your address, and request you to please limit your talk to 10 minutes. I'll give you a signal.
Good afternoon. Actually, Dr. Salahuddin sir has set the stage for me so well. I was actually supposed to give all these in a politically correct way, which I was struggling, which sir did very well for me. So I have a presentation. Can someone please help me with that? So as they are setting up the presentation, I would like to focus on certain things that, because you are all from BRAC University and we are from BRAC Bank, so there are certain things that we do which is not like other banks or other operators who operate in their respective sectors. To start with, I would refer to sir's comment on inequality, the distribution of wealth. Actually, I will give you a little bit of background how BRAC Bank started. Actually, there was a survey in 2001 where there were two major findings at that time. One was the access to finance for small entrepreneurs is not there in Bangladesh. And second one was the access to finance to the ultra poor, like the ones who do not have anything, the have-nots. So these were the two findings, and based on that, our chair, Sir Abed, he has taken two initiatives. One is to start a bank especially for the small and medium enterprises. That is one. And second, for the ultra-poor, under BRAC umbrella, he has started a program to finance the ultra-poor. So this is actually the background of starting BRAC Bank, which started from inequality of wealth. So thanks to Sir for raising that. And also, Sir mentioned one thing, which is financing the real economy, or the GDP growth that we see now is 8%, and government is forecasting a double digit next year. So that is basically driven by, I would like to repeatedly focus on this, is driven by the entrepreneurs and not the, actually the large corporates. Yes, the garment sector have a big role to play, but also the 25% of the GDP contribution actually comes from the small entrepreneurs or small enterprises. Also in terms of employment, 80% or more employment is being generated by these small and medium enterprises. I will just go to my presentation. Before that, I will just say a few words about the central bank. Central bank, because we've been in the banking sector for the last 17 years, and central bank over time have given many policy support to actually help the banks, or in other words, force the banks to lend money to the real economy, which is the small and medium enterprises. And I would just name a few before I go to my presentation. Like, one is under central bank, they have started a division called SME to emphasize focus on SMEs. And this division's only job is to help the banks or give policy support to the banks so that they can finance the SME sector more. Even then, later on, during the time of Dr. Atiur Rahman, when he was the governor, many initiatives was taken for financial inclusion, because initially our mindset was that for the SME sector, the only crisis is lending. But actually, it's not only lending, it's actually taking the entire financial services to the nook and corner of Bangladesh. That was the challenge. And for that reason, the financial inclusion division of central bank has given us a lot of policy support. Like, one of the major one is the agent banking. You will now see everywhere there are agent banking. So this is actually a push from the central bank, which gives the bank an opportunity to take financial services to the rural areas at a very low cost, and which happens to be a very good model and very successful model. Though any banks haven't yet started lending through this channel, but this channel is taking at least the financial services to the mass. So I will first start with the economy of Bangladesh, what we have achieved so far, where we are now. If you look at this, we are a country of 163 million people, and the time when I'm speaking, actually it's a very, we have to be delighted that we have now reached, like last week, our power generation was more than 13,000 megawatts. So this is the first time we have reached this much of generation, which means that if you see, almost 99% of our population have now got access to electricity. So which is a major economic turnaround over last 5 years, I would say. Of the 163 million population, 65% are rural, and only 31% of are banked. And this is data a year ago. So I'm sure the agent banking will raise this percentage further. Our adult literacy level have risen to 61.5%. And the most important indicator we see is the mobile penetration rate, which has now gone to 82% almost, which is phenomenal because when bKash first started, when the thought of bKash was going on in BRAC Center, people were very, very skeptical about how the rural people will use this. This is not possible. They don't even know the numbers. But now, bKash have more than 30 million customers. And they are using, now bKash has become an adjective actually. You all know, like sending money is now say bKash kurun. It's not like send money. So this is another area where we have to take opportunities. This usage of mobile technology will help, we have to leverage it and take the banking services through the mobile to the mass. And, but still, another biggest thing is the internet, if you see, the internet access. This was nothing 5 years ago. Now almost, because this is a 1-year-old data, now almost 50% of our rural areas have internet connectivity. And they do use it. In every Upazila, you will see there is a digital office where people can go and have internet connectivity and take various services from the central government. So now coming back to the SME financing, I already said that 25% GDP contribution, 80% employment. But still, if you see the figure which is more important is the $1.84 billion credit gap, which is still there in SME. I will just highlight the reason for that, because we are now, I don't know whether it is politically correct to say, we are now overbanked. Our economy is really overbanked. An economy like ours shouldn't have so many banks. But are all the banks playing their role properly? Are all the banks really financing the real economy or the real contributor to the economy? That is the question we should ask. Because having so many banks, these indicators, and then having such a big gap in small financing or small entrepreneur financing tells us some stories. So coming back to BRAC Bank, actually, as I said, the BRAC Bank started with a clear-cut focus to finance only the SMEs. Then later on, now we are a full functional bank because we need funding from retail segment, consumer segment to generate the funds to finance the SMEs. Also, we need to do corporate banking business as well. So we do all sorts of business, but if I give you the portfolio composition of BRAC Bank, then that will surprise you because we are an outlier from all 65 banks. Because our SME portfolio is near about 50% of our total balance sheet. Whereas if you look at any other bank on an average, I can tell you right away that 80% of their portfolio will be corporate or more. So the main reason for this is I would say the focus from the board level, which we have. The small financing lending during our 17 years of journey was not all the time very good. We faced NPLs, we faced bad days, but due to our focus, we have actually over time fixed this model in a way so that we can finance the SMEs more and more. So if you look at that, these are the credit, because on banking there are two sides. One is the credit side and one is the, credit side is the lending side and the deposit side. So to address the credit side, because I have a very small time, so I will not go into the detail. So to address the credit side, we have started with when we started our bank, from the first day we have started giving collateral-free loans to small and medium enterprises. And on the savings side, over last 15, 16 years, we didn't do much. After getting the policy support from central bank, the agent banking, we have embarked on the agent banking journey last year. And our initial focus was only financing the SMEs. Now our focus, along with the help of our agent banking, is to take the complete financial services to each and every SME of the country. So this gives you an overview of our portfolio. And the interesting part is the collateral-free loan portfolio, if you see. In our SME loan portfolio, almost 70% is completely collateral-free loan. And if you look at the customer numbers, then it comprises of 96% of our total customers are enjoying collateral-free loans, which means that and also our average loan ticket size will be around 8 lakh Bangladeshi taka. And which means we do financing in volumes. Every month we give around 8,000 loans. And out of that, 4,000 are new to bank customers. Another survey, we have seen that our SME financing, almost 80% of the customers that we finance, we are the first bank for them. So these are some of the features that helps us, or we are being proud, so that we are enabling these SMEs to grow further. So I will just say a few words about our agent banking, and then I will finish there. So we started our agent banking. Now we have 62 outlets, but our target is we will partner with some mobile companies, and we will expand this network to 50,000 in next 2-3 years. So this is kind of an overview of our agent banking, how it looks like. And now what next? I will just say a few words about what our plans, what we are planning to do next. Our next plan is digital. We want to do everything digitally. We want to have a mobile app. We want to give a mobile app to our credit officers, and who will give credit decisions on their mobile app at customer premises. And we want to give the loan to SMEs within 48 hours max, which now takes 5 days. So with that, I will finish. And obviously, the new generation of people are here, and we will need your expertise to help us build our digital capabilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Syed Abdul Momen. And we have our final speaker, Mr. Mainuddin Monem, Deputy Managing Director of Abdul Monem.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. For the brevity of time, let me get to the meat of the things without much introduction. But first of all, I must express my sincere appreciation and thanks to the organizers of International Conference on Business and Management of Breck University. Has done a wonderful job over the years. As I have met, the manifestation is clearly evidenced by the fact that the school has come a long way. It has demonstrated no less than Mr. Mamun right in front and his colleagues, Shamim and others. We should not be miserly of thanking people. This is a very much the happiness index should say it. People in Bangladesh, anywhere I see many parts of the world, they're miser in appreciating people. It should not be that way. They've done a wonderful job. And my heart goes out there to recognize a person when I come to Brecht, not less than Sir Fozle Hassan Abed. a formidable task was done by him of addressing over 10 million people whom he has given the light of life, I call it. He has helped them to come to lives. Two more persons I must mention at BRAC. It will be very much ungrateful of mine. My younger brother, Dr. Mahabub Majumdar, who happens to be a BRAC faculty now. We have shared the same room at MIT many years when I was doing my decision science that you are working now with Professor Kaufman and Paul D. Berger. He was undergrad and I was doing my master's program at MIT Sloan. He is a great friend of mine and my younger brother. He is now a faculty and whom I'm doing a project now, which I'll share in a minute, on blockchain at BRAC University. And last but not least, you found another Mahabub, my acquaintance here. He's the dean of BRAC. So, you know, it's a homecoming, a good introduction for me. And I think 3 minutes has gone. Imran, my uncle, happens to be my uncle. Professor Imran, my wife's uncle. So, see, it's a homecoming for me. At the outset, let me say, I'm very much interested to come because I was at some point not trying to come to this program because I was busy with some projects and my father, who is going through some dialysis. So then when Mr. Mamun said I couldn't resist the temptation but say one thing, that I like to express few things here, which is very much close to my heart. And I'm very lucky to be a speaker after 3 great speakers. Nobody less than my sister, Madam, academic who has done a lot of statistical work, which I want to say, reject HO on that significance of your number, how good the number is in the sample size, which we'll talk in a minute. Then nobody less than my uncle, Governor of Bangladesh Bank, who is also part of my agenda now of getting access to finance that Bangladesh Bank should do, and nobody less but BRAC Bank at the end has done the SME banking. All these 3 things comes to a project that I'm handling now, that is economic zone of Bangladesh. The Prime Minister, or Sheikh Hasina, our Prime Minister, has given this torch to us 3 years ago, that for Bangladesh to achieve the higher middle income status by 2021 and developed status by 2041, we must find some projects that will take our country forward. And all 3 of you that you have spoken before me has something to do with that, I suppose. The first and foremost would be, you know, Bangladesh is a war-ravaged country, and in 1971, we got independence. The country had not much infrastructure. Most of you know, I mean, who are much older than me here, even younger than me, read the history. Look at 1971, if we start. Now, 2019. We want to reach 2041, the developed country status. In 70 years of history, needs to be made to make the country a developed country in the world. And we do know the models of developed country today. So when I do the economic zone, the first question I ask, for us to achieve that target, what are the challenges we face? The first challenge we have, that why I'm here today, is the human resource. The human resource, I think, the most important challenge for Bangladesh. I know I will talk about regulatory matters, but I think the biggest challenge we have in Bangladesh, having a large pool of population. Professor Imran and Professor Maun, you know what I have done today? I have volunteered in my own to invite my 7 engineers who work with me today, most of them from Buet, the Premier Minister of Bangladesh, and they've worked overseas. They worked in Dubai and many parts of the world, did PhD from Australia, Monash, some other countries. I made them sit in the audience, and I told them, I will speak my mind today in front of BRAC University to make one point that for Bangladesh to achieve the desired status of developed country, there's nothing but human resource, which you have talked about happiness index. That's human resource. So, and where BRAC comes in this plateau, that is what my interest lies. The biggest disconnect we have You will not be surprised. When I was coming here, in my project site, I interviewed a guy who is an architect, just this morning at 12 o'clock, before I set out the prayers, and I asked him, that you have an architecture firm, and I have given you a task. Tell me why there's a gap between what you teach in the class and what you do on the field. You see what you are saying? He went to Berlin to do masters in practical work in Norway.
নরওয়েতে আমি মেইনলি ইন্টার্নশিপ কাজ করার সময় গেছি প্রত্যেকটা আমি যেটা আঁকি এটা প্রত্যেকটা মাইফে একটা বিল্ডিং ড্রয়িং এ তুলতে হবে আমার এখানে ড্রয়িং করার পরে ওটা স্কেলে ড্রয়িং করে বাস্তবে ইমপ্লিমেন্ট আর ওইখানে একটা পুরাতন বিল্ডিং দিবে আপনাকে পুরোটাই মাপতে হবে মাপে ওইটা মাপা ড্রয়িংটা আপনি ড্রয়িং এর মধ্যে তুলবেন তখন আপনি ফুল জিনিসটা আপনার মধ্যে চলে আসবে আমাদের ফিল্ডে অন্য ফিল্ডের কথা আমি জানি না
See, what he's trying to say, see, this is a practical thing. You see, there's no point of writing. I saw the Vice Chancellor went to MIT and it's Berkeley. We went to Harvard, MIT, but I called today that we must go to the field and get the job done. What he was trying to say, when he studied at Bangladesh architecture, his academics has no interface with the practical field of implementation. Very important. When he went to Berlin to the masters, Berlin went for masters, then went to Norway for his thesis. He was sent in a practical field, see a design of a building, old building, to design it. Once he designed, he has to go and implement that design in that building, refurbish the whole building. And when he has done it, his whole design at the university that he has learned got cleared and concept was very clarity in his mind. And that is what we need to do in Bangladesh. There's no rocket science. See, the biggest challenge Bangladesh does, all this work that we do, the disconnect, the lack of practical approach to education is not there. So that is why I thought it's very practical to share today that what BRAC is doing now, what BRAC University is doing, what should be done at this point is introduce a lot of internship programs where you will see the students can be benefited. What they learn in the classroom, they implement in the field. Now I tell you what I'm doing with BRAC with Dr. Mahabub. Dr. Mahabub is a very kind, he's a very brilliant guy, he's a mathematician. I told him, let us sit down and organize a project on land. You see, I told Dr. Salahuddin Uncle, he's such a brilliant citizen of Bangladesh and the governor of Bangladesh Bank. He shared with me instantly. One of the biggest problems that any Bangladeshi has faced, local entrepreneurs or the foreign entrepreneurs, is the land matters. There's no secret about it. In the last 3 years, the zone I'm developing now, the biggest challenge I face is the regulatory matters of land. The brilliant mind goes out there to solve the land problems. And what the problem is that there's no digitization of the records of land in Bangladesh. So me and Dr. Mahabub decided we'll float a program in BRAC to the students where we will use blockchain to digitize the records and the process of systemization of the land registry process, where the middleman now is the government of Bangladesh today, where they have got multiple agencies. There needs to be a visit to get a land document cleared, can be minimized through digitization. That was Uncle I was talking to you about. It is only technology can help to mitigate this process of digitization. And it's a technology can help, and the man behind the machine, the human resource, can do that. And I cannot think any better way to take Bangladesh forward at this point if we do not address these critical matters. For BRAC University, I will have one more thought to share, that is industry academia, the linkages, which I have shared many times before, because I think I have a great exposure at Harvard and Boston. One of the best companies in the world, General Electric, IBM, Intel, you will find the best faculties of Harvard, David Yoffie, in the board of Intel. You find Michael Porter, the board of Microsoft. The idea is getting the curricula designed where our practical issues of the business today, for us to take fourth industrial revolution that we talk about, these students today in the classroom must understand what they implement in the field and get systematized. So the problem here is your approach of systematic knowledge is not there. You are too much into bookish and theoretical problem-solving methods. It got to be done problem and skill to be set to do problem-solving methods. That should be implemented to the universities. I will share with the professor, the new VC of Breck University. You have a great career. You must have been to MIT and Yale. You have not seen any less than that what MIT does in their lab, MIT lab. That's what they do. They bring all the recent and pertinent problems of the society today and bring computerized to those problems. At the end, I must share one thing, what Bill Gates has said, that if you use technology to improve the efficiency of a problem, it will magnify the efficiency of the solution. On the contrary, if you bring an inefficient process in the technology, it will magnify inefficiency of the system. So end of the day, it is the human resource I talk about. It's not the machine alone. The human resource will make it happen. That is when Bangladesh's desired goal of Honorable Prime Minister, 100 economic zone, creating 40 billion export, 10 million jobs, will happen only you have the right human resource to feed those projects. But what we have to do now, we got to hire the engineers from all over the world, come to Bangladesh as mid-level managers, not understand the full thing, but coming to try to solve the thing, getting half the job done. But what we need is customize our needs, feed our boys and girls in the university, bring talents from outside, like the vice chancellor here, get technology transferred to Bangladesh, and get things systematically done for the need that we are at hand now. And that is how I think the the leadership you are showing in the university today, your brand Bragg has got Bikash, Bragg Bank, Sarfaz Hassan Abed. You have got the best, our civil servants of Bangladesh. Your brand should be focused how you address the challenge of 21st century, fourth industrial revolution, where human resource must lead from the front, that others will act as an enabler for the country. And I again thank Breck University. Bangladesh has come a long way. We have done a formidable task. Our last 10 years growth is significantly on the time, but we have a lot more job to be done. Our regulatory matters should be a lot more streamlined. It still is a big mess. The regulatory matters in terms of land matters, in terms of registration of projects and companies are very much needs to be streamlined. We have serious challenge on design of world-class projects. Our engineers must be given the exposure of world-class projects. They should be mostly practically oriented to do cost-effective projects, not just building roads and bring it after 3 years. And we have, last but not least, we must use technology to make things efficient and cost-effective for the people of Bangladesh and the people at large, at world at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mainuddin Momen. Can I invite Professor Lee now maybe to close out this session, maybe moderate a few questions. Thank you.
Yeah, you can see our schedule. We should close this section at 3:30. Now it's 3:47. So I think we close it at 3:50. So 3 minutes left. Any question anyone want to ask, please raise your hand. Yeah, the microphone. The microphone, yeah, please.
Hello. Well, I have a question to Madame Rosamine. As you have discussed the analytical, wonderful presentation, that you have done the ranking part, and you have used the multi-criteria decision analysis. So I would like to know that which technique did you use, whether it was a AHP, analytical hierarchy process, or data envelopment analysis, and did you structural equation modeling or anything like that in your research?
All the 3 methods that you mentioned, no, we didn't use all those methods. We use other multi-criteria methods. There's so many others, and when we do our initial part of the research, we have to analyze the problem. We have to do some pre-modeling, and we tested whether which method is most suitable. We tested for analytic hierarchy problems, but not suitable. And the third one, what is it? DEA, no, it is not suitable, not really connect to the objective that we are trying to achieve. So here we use rank order centroid, and we also tested for 3 other methods, rank reciprocal, and another rank-based method, and then we model it together with scoring model. Very simple mathematical, but impactful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Time is up, 3:50. So if you have any question, talk to the speaker, okay? Sorry, it's really late, the same, okay? Talk to the speaker, because now we are 20 minutes behind. Otherwise, we don't have time to sleep. We will be here up to tomorrow. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much to our distinguished speakers today. It has been absolutely very beautiful speeches and very insightful as well, and I'm sure that we have taken a lot out of their research and their speeches today. And we believe that as we have the industry academic discussion later today, we will be able to discuss more and bridge the gap and maybe come up with more solutions that we can apply in the near future. Thank you. May I please now request all our 4 speakers to please come up on stage, because we would like to appreciate your contribution, give you a token of appreciation as well. May I please request our Professor Dr. Vincent Chang, Vice Chancellor of BRAC University, to do the honor and give out the token of appreciation. I would like to request Professor Dr. Razamin Ramli to please come up on stage. Our industry talk speaker, Mr. ASM Mainuddin Monem. Sir, please come up on stage. Our invited talk speaker, Dr. Salihuddin Ahmed, and Mr. Syed Abdul Momen. Sir, may I please also request our session chair for ICBM 2019 to please help us with giving out the crests as well. Professor Dr. Muhammad Mahbub Rahman, Dean of BRAC Business School, BRAC University. Is sir here? Sir. We will start with our crests. Maybe please start with Professor Dr. Razamin Ramli, Professor of School of Quantitative Science, Director, Innovation, Commercialization of Center of UUM. Can I have a big round of applause for her, please? Thank you so much, ma'am. For our industry talk speaker, Mr. ASM Mainuddin Monem, Deputy Managing Director from Abdul Monem Limited. Sure, please, can we have his son join us on stage as well, please? Yes, definitely. Do you want everyone to put a round of applause for him as well? Can we encourage this? Thank you. May I please request our Dean Sir to please come up on this side maybe and then just give out the next crest, if that's okay, with, along with our VC Sir, please. Thank you. May I please request the next crest to be given to our Dr. Salahuddin Ahmed, Sir, Bragg Business School, Bragg University. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, sir. And for our industry talk speaker, Mr. Syed Abdul Momin, Head of SME Banking of Bragg Bank Limited. It doesn't end here. Our gold sponsor, that's Abdul Monem Limited. Sir wasn't here before when we gave out the crest for our sponsor. May I please request for you to accept our crest and as a token of appreciation as well for being the gold sponsor for ICBM 2019. Yes, this is for this morning, yes. Can we have a big round of applause for all our speakers today here? Thank you so much. Thank you. We will now move on to our second parallel session for the day. I would like to request everyone to please take a look at their program book and move towards their respective session rooms. I would also like to request our audience to please give us organizers 5 to 10 minutes to please set up this room. Thank you so much.
Industry Academia Alliance is, I would say, in Bangladesh, one of the hottest topics right now. And it is definitely in the agenda of universities. Generally, we receive a lot of blame. Even today, Deputy Managing Director Moin Bunem, my beloved Bunem Bhai, he has said today that unfortunately academics tend to be very, very bookish in Bangladesh, and as a result, we're not seeing in the students the kind of learning outcomes that there need to be for them to excel in industry. And in another setting, in a recent setting discussing the fourth industrial revolution, Industry 4.0, the blame was squarely placed on academia that we're not doing enough. Now, I would like to first talk about why we have co-creation of knowledge, just as a context, and then we'll transition hopefully to the more general topic of industry-academia collaboration. So, co-creation of knowledge is a specific moniker. It's a specific label for a specific set of activities. This is where industry and academia partner up for the deliberate activity of producing knowledge. Now again, Munim Bhai today actually mentioned an interesting example where he is collaborating with a Bragg University faculty member, a brilliant faculty, where they're co-investigating the use of blockchain in order to register land management, for better land management, to register information. So co-creation of knowledge is beyond the simple supply role that universities typically play nowadays, which is we provide graduates and industry absorbs them. Rather, it is the situation where industry is willing to sponsor, and even before that, co-identify what topics academics will be working on, and then incentivize them, and then be equally motivated. So if I speak on behalf of industry, somehow it needs to make sense from the bottom line perspective, that somehow it needs to contribute to their competitiveness. And this is globally quite difficult. But it has also been identified recently by the most prestigious consortium of business schools worldwide that for business schools to remain relevant, the main activity that needs to take place is co-creation of knowledge. So today we have a wonderful panel, and what I'll do is I will go ahead and request initially a few individuals to speak, and I will also request that everyone puts in a perspective today, and hopefully that will be the beginning of continued information exchange and hopefully the establishment of sustainable partnerships. Now, there are some very, very compelling challenges to be overcome. Because frankly speaking, academics claim that there isn't a lot of incentive to do research. And part of it is because we are industry driven and industry is not supporting the creation of knowledge, quite simply. Now, as an academic administrator, I will say that it's not entirely true. This is a small example. This entire conference has been funded by industry. Universities in Bangladesh frequently are set up by entrepreneurs. And so there is creation of knowledge supported by industry. But perhaps we want, through our discussion, to reveal where the challenges lie. So the questions, the first question we'd like to ask is, how can we overcome this challenge? What is it that industry would look for in order for us to be able to deliver on research requirements? And I want to begin that actually by first asking industry. So perhaps Mr. Mobin Islam?
Sure, sir. Thank you, Professor Mahmood. So what we see now, the narrative we have in our business schools or our technology schools, the narratives of global companies. We all know about Google, Facebook, Uber, Airbnb. But the changes which are coming in the world in the form of Industry 4.0, as you mentioned, the dynamics of that change in a country like Bangladesh, where we have a very stratified social structure, is completely different. The challenges are different. So we do not see business schools having the context of Bangladesh. What ACI is doing, what IBDC is doing, or what Monem Group is doing, or Rana is doing, that remains completely missing. The challenges we have is completely different. We have people still 21% under poverty level. So how do we have a sustainable business model to really bring in the bottom of the pyramid? That remains the key industry challenge. And we don't see the universities are really able to having that context in the mind of our students or the teachers. That remained the paradigm of development economics. But now business or technology schools need to really combat that challenges. So just to give you an example, we as a financial institution do the housing finance. So all the banks and financial institutions are eyeing at the market in Dhaka and Chittagong, where we have the real estate developers. But the property price has gone up so high, it is not within the reach of the lower middle income families anymore. And there is like 1 crore lower middle income families vis-a-vis the around 1 million high net worth and higher middle income families. So in case we need to really get into that sphere, that okay, we want to really go to that 10 million families instead of 1 million families up in the ranking, we need to really fundamentally change the product, the business process, and the customer experience needs to be redesigned. So we struggle to see that our people are failing to really make sure that how we interact with that group. There is a lack of financial literacy there. There is a lack of, say, technological, say, access by those group of people. So definitely, we want that universities look into that aspect.
Now, you mentioned the macroeconomic context. Now, see, macroeconomy, in some sense, is the sum of micro. Because there are various individuals, households, businesses, etc. What they do eventually gets reflected in the macro scenario, whether in terms of economic growth or in terms of reduction of poverty, in terms of reducing inequality of income distribution, and so on and so forth. If we look at the issue from the point of view of macroeconomy, as was mentioned, we want to graduate from the current low middle income to upper middle income and then to a developed country by 2041. Now, to do that, of course, we require a lot of things, and in particular, we require collaboration between the business and the academia. In that context, I may also mention that many of the countries represented even here in this conference are probably in some sort of a what is called middle income trap. That once you reach a certain level of income, it becomes difficult to sustain the growth which led you in the first place to achieve the middle income status. And there again, this question of co-creation of knowledge, the question of utilization of modern technologies while ensuring employment, etc., and reducing inequality, etc., these things are of importance. Anyhow, I will try to be a little more specific, especially keeping Bangladesh perspective in mind. Firstly, of course, what we need, and I feel there is a great deal of shortage in this area, is communication between industry and the universities or the academia. Now, of course, occasionally it happens on an individual basis. Someone like Mr. Monem, who is interested, he gets in touch with independent university or whatever. But there is really no institutional arrangement for any collaboration between industry and academia. So that's something that I think we need to focus on eventually. Now, in terms of while this institutional arrangement for communication is important, I should also submit for the consideration by the industry representatives here that there are two issues involved to my mind. One is at a sort of general level development of human resources by the university. Now today in Bangladesh, we are told that we have many foreigners employed even in the garment industry in Bangladesh. And there is an outward remittance of something like over $6 billion, but though I have no official statistics has ever been published. So we earn about $15–16 billion and we lose over $6 billion, but though I have no official statistics has ever been published. So we earn about $15–16 billion and we lose something like $6 billion, okay? Now, here the question is, has the business really told the academia or the academic institutions that this is the kind of skill we need? And in that context, I may also mention that has the business thought of somehow indigenizing these human resources? I know that some African countries, immediately after their independence, before independence, many of their high positions, both in the government and in the business, were manned by people of Indian origin. And many of these countries adopted a deliberate long-term, medium-term approach to replace these people with the local indigenous people. Now there, again, I think it would not be, because these are not, after all, people who are imbued with sophisticated knowledge of rocket science. So it should be possible for the universities to cater to these needs, provided, of course, there is a communication from the industry that this is the kind of skill that we need. So that's one thing. Now, in that context, one also has to remember that universities, as far as human resources are concerned, cannot create human beings who will cater to particular needs of particular industries at all times. That's just not possible. So what is important is that the universities should imbibe an analytical capacity in the graduates so that when they face a situation, they are able to analyze the problem and then in consultation with their colleagues or with people from outside, they develop a capacity to find some sort of solution. So that is an area where I think universities also need to pay attention to. Now, another important point is the creation of knowledge requires research. And the issue of financing has been already raised by some of the previous speakers. Now, here, of course, what is the initiative taken by the business community to provide funds for research by the universities? And it doesn't, well, to some extent, it may be a sort of overall endowment. But to some extent, it may even be related to a specific problem-solving research. That here I have a problem, we need research in this area, I really don't know how to solve it. So I will give you some fund, you do undertake research and come out with a solution for the problem. Okay. So that's one area that the business might take into account. But there is also there are also other partners in financing. One, of course, the universities itself. They may, some of the universities may have some fund, and I was told that you had allocated some specific fund for research. But also, I think it is important to enlist the support of the government in this. Because if you look at Bangladesh government's allocation for research, there is very little which is allocated, even for problems. I mean, for example, as an advisor, I had allocated a hefty sum for research in agriculture, specific, and of course this was done through B, not through a sort of academic institution. That was because that I realized that in a country like Bangladesh, where we lose cultivable land every year, the only way we can ensure food self-sufficiency is by enhancing the agricultural productivity. And so that in turn requires improvements in seed, fertilizer, irrigation, water, and irrigation practices, and so on and so forth. So I allocated, if I correctly remember, something like 300 crores for research by in the agricultural sector. So I think the government has a role to play, and there perhaps business and industry collectively, jointly, could impress upon the government the need for additional allocation resources. And I would conclude by making one appeal to the business and industry. That is, as a student of economics, I make the basic assumption that a businessman, in fact, rationality is defined in terms of profit maximization. But then, as has been mentioned here, that just this academic theoretical knowledge is not good enough. One has to recognize that short-term profit maximizing approach is not necessarily beneficial for the business itself in the long run. Therefore, this question of corporate social responsibility, corporate governance, the need for developing human resources, etc., this still becomes important, through which you can develop brand loyalty, you can expand your market, and so on and so forth. So my request to the business people present here is that do not necessarily think in terms of short-run profit maximization, and which would imply that you minimize cost in every respect, including in respect of your employee development, human resource development within the organization, and so on and so forth. So that sort of an attitude needs to be changed. I'm not blaming any of the business community that they are actually, they actually suffer from this, but perhaps this is a realization which needs to be better appreciated and practiced. So with these words, let me conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your outstanding evaluation, and also for your for the positive outlook that you have offered, as well as quite a concrete roadmap with which hopefully we can see results. In fairness to Vishani Sudola, he did mention, I think the first agenda item for academia was to facilitate the tripartite discussion between industry, academia, and government. So that's definitely a novel recommendation to us that we can play the role in facilitating the tripartite discussion. Also regarding benevolence, the Disney heiress is on the news today in the New York Times, partly because she has lashed out at Disney, objecting to the $55 or $65 million pay for Disney CEO, and she feels that Disney could do a lot better by following a more, or adopting a more equitable stance. So with that international flavor, we're extremely lucky that we have international participants both from industry as well as in academia. Now, Dr. Mamoun Habib signaled a while back that we need to close. What he doesn't know is that biologically there is good symbiosis between me and my brain. So my tummy informed my brain some time ago that it's almost time for dinner. So I will request short statements, first from our industry representative from Singapore, and then I will request Professor Zhongru Li, with whom I shared a session as co-chair, particularly because he comes from a country where there is a lot by way of both research as well as industry innovation. So first, sir, and then
Thank you, everyone, for giving me this chance to say a few words. I mean, all of you are very learned, and I'm really blessed to sit on this table. But there's just one thing I want to share coming from Singapore, is Singapore has evolved a lot over the years. If you look at previously, the Singapore government, they used to churn out robots. So academia would get people coming in, they will memorize the book. At the end of the exam, they will get straight A's, and they are, yeah, hallelujah, they got a job. But then they can never apply. And I think the Singapore government realized that, and they changed the entire curriculum from the toddler level right to the university level. I think that is very important, because you have to start from the young. You don't wait till the person reaches university to teach the person how to think. Right? And I can see that change in my own son. He went through the International Barakulat program, and I can tell you, I had to sweat blood and tears to pay the fees. But it was worth it, because the transformation, that ability to think and apply, the think about doing the right thing when no one is watching, it's very, very hard. Because today, I think a lot of university students, when I talk to them, because I do pro bono talks, and I do a simple quiz. I said, if I were to give you $1 million, would you do crime? And the answer is, yes, I will. Because it ain't affecting you. If it affects his family, I don't give two hoots. You park the car right in front of the road, the ambulance cannot go, it's his family. No, why do I care? So if it affects you, then you would do something. And I think the other good thing Singapore government has done is they have partake with industry, tripartite. And what they have done recently was talking to Sir on the cyber security, because that is a huge thing. And in Bangladesh, you all know, cyber security is very interesting. The SWIFT code, that whatever happened, I think every one of you in the world is fascinated with Bangladesh. A country that nobody knew became famous overnight, right? And in Singapore, what the government did was they set up a center, they partnered with the top talents in the game, right? And then what they did was they looked at it at 3 levels: country, company, and individual, and they really provided the infrastructure with what you guys are talking. I think it's very important for Bangladesh as a country, if they want to come up, to really look at human resource and provide that infrastructure. And I think industry would definitely chip in money. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
thank you. Professor Lee.
Okay. Yeah. So can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Let me share my experiments. Okay. How I build the good relationship with a businessman. Usually they are busy, so I will say, do you have time? Share your experiments. Come to my classroom, and just takes 30 minutes, and give us your overview of your company and what's your life for philosophy, something like that. Usually they are very happy to do that. Okay. So after that, they will say, thank you very much. Then I say, thank you very much. And I do the same thing for the 2nd year. I do the same thing for 3rd year. And then he will ask, what do you need? Then I will say, no, I just want to have a good question. Then what questions bothers you right now? Then the businessman will tell you, oh, I have 3 questions, something like that. Then I will say, okay, can I propose some idea to you? And why not you gather your managers together, let's have some workshop, and then that will be a good start. then I will know the company manager will know me, and I can listen to what they complain to their boss, to their employees, whatever. So it's a way for me, I think it's good to build a relationship first. Don't talk about the money or talk about the problem that you want to solve it. And once you got good questions, bring it back to the classroom, you can ask your students to think, to innovate, how to find a good solution for these problems. And usually, in the end of the semester, I will ask the businessman come to the classroom and say, why not you sit here? Let me allow my students present their idea to you. Usually, the idea may not so mature, but a businessman will be very happy to hear what the young people are thinking. That's how we did in our university. Okay, that's my case to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that's a very practical recommendation, and I'm sure nothing will stop us from implementing this. Thank you so much. So we are going to wrap this up. I'm fairly certain that every one of you would agree with me that the idea is to engage. So co-creation of knowledge. Oh, yes, Vice Chancellor.
Can I share like a short example?
Certainly.
Just short. I know everybody is hungry.
Yeah.
I would like to share the Malaysian initiative. Okay. This is initiated by our Ministry of Education. We have this initiative called PPRN, Public-Private Research Network. You can browse. It's in our website, ministry website, and many public. But this is specifically for public university. Where we, this is like short term because industry, they want fast result. They want, they're thinking of profit. They want to improve and increase whatever is related to the industry. So what the ministry did was they set up a committee and they come up with this strategy. Normally the target is SMEs. And the boss of the SME is allowed to present not more than 3 slides of what is the problems of their company. So meaning that not more than 3 objectives. What is it that the company wants to find solution for? So then submitted it to the committee where it is consists of consultant and industry and also academic representing the ministry, and then it blasts to all the 20 public university. Then we, academia, propose in only 5 slides. We need to propose, we need to choose which company that we think we can help, and then we defend or present, but it's only a one-to-one session because I have done this before but did not success because it is open. Like for one problem, you may have a few proposal, so it's like we are bidding, okay, and the ministry set a 50,000 ringgit of amount of grant, but it's not 100% come from the ministry. Some amount, maybe 20-30%, 50 or 60% must come from the industry. It shows that the industry commitment to be wanting the problem to be solved for them. So because we were thinking about how academia can help the industry, how industry can help the academia. You were thinking about the industry should give some money. Yeah, they're giving like maybe out of 50,000, 15 or 20,000 or 30,000 from the industry to solve their own problem. And these professors are proposing whatever solution. I think this is quite a success story for Malaysia. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm glad we gave you this time. I think this is wonderful, and we've taken notes. Yes, yes, definitely.
Thank you.
So, closing thought from, sorry. Oh, and then we'll have one more closing thought.
This one is better? Yeah, this is coming from the church. Yeah. Thank you. Well, the role of the university, as I see it, is knowledge creation, knowledge dissemination, and knowledge application. Though we are talking more about knowledge creation, the question of knowledge dissemination and application of the knowledge that is created. But unless the knowledge is created, what to disseminate? And there comes the kind of all things that we are discussing. Now, I'm talking purely in the context of Bangladesh and some realistic situation. Before 1992-93, it was all public universities. And I'm a product of public university, and I was with IBA for whole of my life. Now I'm with the BRAC University. Now, the private university has a different context. Private university. The teaching load of teachers, this is huge. This has to come down. You are going to send a faculty to do a case study or even for research. You must give him the time. Money comes next. So that time at times is very difficult to get, because in case of public university, there is a summer vacation. Now, if you look to the private university, it is round the year. It is round the year. So where is the time to even give your brain some time to think? So that is one, there is a very critical issue. Private universities are all funded by student tuition. Public universities are funded by less than 5% from the students and other income. Rest 90% comes from everybody here, including the rickshaw puller. The rickshaw puller paid for my education. Rickshaw puller paid for education of most of us here. Now that money is coming from the exchequer. So the private universities, they have a constraint in terms of allocating funds for resources, research. When I was advisor of business school, who knows, there was no line item in the university as for research. I said that at least put some money, put 20 lakh taka for research. So faculty members will do it. And then I had an advisory council with some of the CEOs in the BRAC Business School. Now this issue came, as all we have been discussing in terms of the resources. Now most of them said that, well, sir, we are ready to give you money for research, but give us tax exemption. That is what they asked for. So give us tax exemption. But under 15D of the income tax, whatever money you give to the public university, there may be tax exemption. There is no tax exemption to private universities. That is a reality. So that way, direct participation without considering the tax, that is something that we will have to come up with. And then, of course, the mental makeup, both from the academia as well as from the business, in giving access. As Mr. Anitya, with all the experience, he said, the first word he used is, business people are busy. True. Do you think, sir, that academic world people are not busy? So business people are busy, but then he qualified. He said that, well, you have to attract them. You have to attract them. Of course, that is our role, how to attract them, how to bring them. The advisory committee that I had in the business school at BRAC University, IBA, where I come from, instead of business administration, Dhaka University, well, considered to be the top business school in the country. Now, he was also, Mr. Anitya was also in the Board of Governors. So now that kind of situation is there, that where public universities are getting advantage, private universities have certain limitations. And the issue of giving money, whatever government puts on research is primarily for the public university. But we will have to generate our own money. That is the idea that I think we should have. In terms of developing the case studies, as Mr. Anisiduri said, or local reading materials, of course, there is our limitation. We must accept it. Still, we all are saying that what is Harvard, Harvard Business School cases. Of course, that has been. Harvard Business School cases are taught even in London Business School, Manchester Business School, all over the world. But at the same time, indigenize and using local experience and also expand that way. So it should be, as we said, that is a joint effort. And there the government also, in case of Bangladesh, that comes in. The CSR fund, you said it. If I'm not quoting wrong, there is again a question where the CSR money is going. Is it for sports or is it going for something else, as Dr. Salahuddin pointed out? So I feel that industry has a scope to give money, and that you will have to come up with. Now, there is, of course, now 110 private universities and public universities, everybody will be coming to you. But please try to judge them on the basis of the quality of activities that they are doing and they will do. University Grants Commission had a project with the World Bank funding, which is, well, I took more than 2 minutes. And then they said that, well, you give research proposals. I was the Vice Chancellor of Eastern University. And the chairman said that the money, it is only public universities. I said, Mr. Chairman, why don't you look what private universities are come up with? If I am at IBA, I'll be a better person, better academician. If I am then I was at Eastern University, I am nobody. So please change that mental makeup. Of course, that is taking time, but we cannot sit idle. And the efforts that this conference, the idea that has been generated and the interest, I'm glad that we could have so many from the industry. Not only in giving sponsorship and giving money, but in terms of giving the intellectual contribution. And that way, I thank every one of you. Thank you very much for your presence, and my colleagues from outside Bangladesh. Thank you also. Thank you very much.
I will just take 2 minutes, no more. Funding. You have heard that we spent $3-4 billion remittance outside. This is the knowledge we buy. This is the solution we buy. If you can give us the solution, why should we spend that money abroad? So you have to give us the confidence that you can solve our problem. We have the fund. We will give fund only where we will find that there will be results. You have to come out and meet us, see our problem, and convince us, just the way a consultant convinces us. They take away all the money. So money is there. This is one request I will make, that engage with us, come to us, give us the confidence, and then there will be no dearth of funding. And that's it. I think that's it.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. We'd like to listen to some closing thoughts also from industry. So we have several individuals who are representing industry, outstanding, and thank you particularly for your support, but we'd like to listen to more of your ideas. And again, if you'd like to volunteer to share some closing ideas.
I don't have much to add because I think we had a lot of discussion on this. But in my view, I think from my experience, I've worked in BAT, Unilever, and also in Reckitt. I headed Reckitt for 8 years in Bangladesh and also outside. So from my experience, I think money is not the problem. The problem is creating the platform where we can work together. I think normally universities contact us when they need internship. Yeah. So that is not the starting point. The starting point is when you are developing the curriculum or when you are running the courses. I think there we should engage with each other. And all these courses should have at least some projects where the students can engage with the industry. The other is like when you appoint a lecturer. So that lecturer is basically coming from university and joining the university without any practical experience of the industry. I think their internship is also very important every year because whatever we read in the book, that has changed completely when you come in the practical field because the business operations challenges are very unique in different industries. So my request would be that whether we can also involve the teachers at the early stage with the industry. And don't only engage for the internship and for research money with the companies, also engage them in developing the curriculum. As I'm repeating again that money is not the starting point. The starting point is a platform where we can work together. Thank you.
I don't know whether okay, it's fine. I think the last speaker, let me start from there actually. We are facing, a challenging time actually. Let me give you some statistics that from Bangladesh, the current student that we are producing, I'm going back actually, every year we are producing almost, 0.8 million to 1 million graduates in this country. Many of them are truly unemployable. That's what the feedback that we get from the companies and industries and businesses. And that's why today's discussion, academia industry discussion, in my view, is very pertinent, very important, especially on the topic of co-creation of knowledge. The earlier thought was we all have been thinking that academia is going to be the producer of knowledge and the industry and businesses are the user of the knowledges. I think that time has changed. Now the time has come even in a point that both are actually generating knowledge from both ends, but we are detached in many ways. In the context of our country, heavily we are detached. So we really need to focus that how the upcoming challenges that we all are talking about in terms of the Industry 4 and all these frontier technologies that are coming in the upcoming 20 to 25 years, even in Bangladesh, all this technology that we talk about, robotics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, or big data, everything we have to adopt. Now think about that. If you, from the industry front, think that how many academic institutions in our country is built in that way, no matter it's a government institutions or a private institutions, are equipped with all those support that we really have in our platform. And that is where I want to see that, industries are going to come, forward. Why do industry has to come forward? Because you are the one, you want to sustain in the marketplace and you want to be growing with a profit-seeking motive or whatever we say, you have to sustain in the business. The human resources that we are producing, that is no way they are going to be matchable in the challenging market in the upcoming days. And here there is the point that the $3 billion or $4 billion that we are giving neighboring countries, just bringing the human resources from the neighboring countries in this country. These human resources, we have to see that what are the potential skills do they have and what is lack in our case that we have to analyze those things. And those capacity, problem-solving skills, analytic ability, that is something we have to give. In one case, from the academic side, for a single course, if we want to change, it takes 3 years to change the curriculum from the government system, both government university as well as the private university. So you have to come forward that industry has a need to incorporate all these modern things in the classroom, existing process. And I think if we come together, these two pressure, both together, we can actually involve the third body, government, in the platform. That is what also in our discussion today. So that is why I think today we are urging you all to come forward. I would love to see that all these big corporations will have under their name the incubation labs,
the labs dedicated in the campus, no matter it's a private university or public university, if you think that it is justified to dedicate something with your company's name inside the boundary of a campus, just do it, because this is what is the need for the upcoming generation of these students. And I would love to see that things, and and if we see that things, you will see that, well, how we are going to involve even industry people in the curriculum development. Believe me, in my university, in one of the program is very iconic, which is textile engineering program. We brought many textile industries, people in our campus, to even designing our yarn process, to fabrics, to merchandising, to we know that their need is changed, and they are talking about that this kind of things has to be incorporated in the lab. I want to see that in all platforms, no matter what company you have, what are the product or services that you deal, your industrial problem has to come in a black and white paper, that the academia can address those issues in any way that we can be support of you. That is what is actually in the upcoming days we are going to expect from you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll just say a few things very shortly. One is I will again support with some of the previous speakers from the industry that it's not about funding and R&D. I think the first work that the academia, they need to do is to create a platform. Actually, what is their expectations? I think there should be a very well thought of engagement sessions. Not like this is a very good start. There is a time shortage in such kind of forums. So there should be a very good platform where they can invite the key people from different industries, and there can be a representation there should be a representation from the academia. And then there basically they can discuss the root causes, actually why we are, what is holding us back, and then what is the way forward. And then there can be a joint consensus that there can be a good model that going forward for the next 5 years, this is our vision, this is what we want to achieve, and this is the kind of support that we need from the industry. And from the industry people, we can also talk about what are our expectations. So that is the first thing that needs to be created. Unless there is a platform, this kind of roundtable discussions will continue for another 20 years, and nothing will happen. That is one. Second is, I think I will echo with Riaz Bhai, that see, now there were public universities before, now there are a lot of private universities. The biggest mistake the private universities are doing, even the public universities they used to do, but now the context is different. Somebody is passing out with a brilliant result, with all 20 A's, gold medal and this and that, and then instead of joining as a faculty, I think in the private university, they have got the provisions. In public university, there are a lot of laws. So they can straight away recruit somebody in the payroll of the university and then send him for 2 years to work with different companies. And it can be easily done. It's not because any company will love to take the brilliant for graduates for 2 years or even 6 months. So then this 2 years learning, he has got at least a platform to teach in the class. Otherwise, he will be actually articulating the same theory, whatever he has learned. The last part is, Anissa said that the industry people, we all are busy. It's absolutely right, because I am like, it depends on and at what level we are. The more senior is the positions, then the responsibilities and accountabilities are much higher. And I will not risk my job because I also run a family. So definitely we all will be busy. But the academic, it is their need because they need to understand what's happening in the corporate world. So, and also they should have a lot of time as well, because the class time, that what RBD sir was saying, that the faculty should not be too busy or too much workload should be there. So they can really chase us, that this continuous follow-up, that we need this and then need to sell as well. So I think they're basically a very good opportunities there, and there should be more follow-up from the academic side. The last one is where basically I will bang more. In the last 20 years, telco industry, consumer industry have gone through a lot of changes, the life cycle. But none of the university talk about local, what happened in the local industries. There is no local case study. I am not saying that you don't need to study Harvard case study. But definitely, unless somebody, he will be working in not USA, he will be working in Bangladesh. So he does not know what is happening in the Bangladesh in community. So that is why basically we need to change our mindset. Thank you.
First, some housekeeping. I'm asking the people on the left and right flanks to please start with the dinner service. I have been informed that those of us sitting here, they will assist us with the food service so we can get this expedited. Second, I am looking at my colleague, Dr. Lee. I have seen him today do an excellent job of time management, where he gave us 3 minutes for a discussion, and yet it was still very, very useful. So this has been going on, but hopefully the conversation can even continue over dinner. I will mention one thing. Clearly, what we'd like to do is we want, whether it is a platform, or it is a meaningful program, or it is the temporal aspect, when we involve industry, but there is a need for us to enter into partnerships. And I also want to finally echo what Mr. Mumin had mentioned, which is about interdisciplinary aspects, that perhaps our partnerships also need to take place within the university, across schools, across departments. Thank you very much. This has been a very, very nice discussion, very lively, very engaging, and we hope that this has been useful for everybody in the room. Please enjoy dinner. Dinner is getting cold. Thank you. Now.
No, thank you. I'll be just sharing one practice, what we are practicing in our university. So whatever we have discussed here, we make the student employable rather than just teaching them. Our university, Centurion University in India, is skill university. We make all the students to work on real life problem rather than theoretical knowledge. Last part of the year, 6 months, they spend in the industry finding out the problem and resolving it. We have additional programs like MTech by research for any worker or any officer working in the industry. If they're interested to have MTech degree, they can enroll in our university, work on the problem of the university, get a degree on that. We have one more thing. Every semester, we assign one mini project, and this mini project continues for entire 8 semesters. So that any real life problem in the industry from the first year can be started, and student can visit the industry regularly. Over these 4 years, he develops sufficient competency to clear that project, and the problem is also resolved. We attach mentors or teachers to assist these students for carrying out the program. So if you are interested, definitely we'll be helping you how to have one dynamic system in place. Every year we modify the syllabus as per the requirement of the industry. We have got 150 industry partners in our university. They always give the problem, and we want to resolve it. And skill, as per their requirement, we send our final year student, and they pick up the problem and resolve it. So this is input from my side. I think we can also practice and help you in practicing it here. Thank you.
Anis Dolo, sir. With the statement.
Thank you. May I suggest one thing? That is that ACI funds a dinner where the Bragg University Vice Chancellor invites business elites, industrialists to a dinner for a more comprehensive discussion, and will be very happy to do that. And that may be the starting point for this relationship that we want to create. Thank you.
Thank you. Accepted.